Welcome back, everybody. Holy shit. It's ready. This is it. It's the first Cringe Fest of 2022. We couldn't, first of all, couldn't be doing this without you, but more importantly, we couldn't be doing this without the man, the myth, the legend, Tom Tanuki. How you doing? Oh no, hang on, wait, Tom, can you hear me? Tom? Can you hear me now?
Hi, I can hear you.
I muted myself. That was my mistake. Tom Tanuki, welcome to Cringe Fest 2022. How you feeling?
Cringe Fest 2022. What an honor it is to return. I'm not feeling good.
Yes.
I think we need to be present with each other.
Yeah.
And we need to
check in.
We need to actualize together. We need to not, if we're coming into a space together where we know, we're not gonna have a good time. We're not gonna give each other a good time.
No.
We are gonna cringe, but we're also gonna have a bad time while we do it.
Yeah.
And I think we need to acknowledge that. And I think, like, if everyone, maybe the people commenting can all, saying, the people in the channel, I'm not going to be able to see all the comments. So, but maybe if they can acknowledge that they don't feel good about it as well, then we can sort of bond. You know what I mean? Reduce some of the tensions here. Because I don't imagine anyone's come here thinking that they're about to have a great time.
No,
How do you feel, Harrison?
I was gonna say I feel like, well, first of all, we should check in often. First, right off the bat, I want to say thank you for doing this. I know we had this planned for a while, but I want to acknowledge first and foremost the traditional owners of our land. But secondly, I would like to acknowledge the incredible work that you've done recently with your Sovereign Citizen videos, which has a wonderful, what was it, basically almost 2 hours worth of brilliant content about the history of sovereign citizenship. And essentially, I think that you did a fantastic job. A lot better than, let's say, The Project did in their recent little video trying to sort of talk about what has been happening in Canberra. Is there anything you wanted to talk about or sort of acknowledge, like off the top of the...
I mean, my big project there, and I've really abandoned it since I did the first one. A couple of years ago now, really, I did a QAnon 2-part series. And kind of my loose plan to do a big treatment for every one of what I saw were all the different conflicting factions of the anti-lockdown movement. And I knew my next one since ages ago was Subsits, but I just always kept staying on the usual grind and thinking, oh God, I don't have the time or the energy to spend the hours required to unpack all this bullshit. But then, it came to a point like late last year when suddenly they were all in fucking old Parliament House, and they were all like it started to become this dominant narrative, this subset garbage within the movement, and I thought, I got to do it. So, I did it. I am happy with it. I'm glad you are. And there'll be more to come. I don't know if this is more than I can chew at this time, because I really don't like. But I think I might do one of the anti-vaxxers eventually in Australia. But I don't know.
There's a lot, because I know that. I mean, again, you can neither confirm nor deny this at this point. But you have talked about possibly looking at the sort of local QAnon connections. I wouldn't say you've teased about it on Twitter, but you are researching it and sort of thinking, like, how do you feel about that sort of influence, especially in local politics, more the sort of the more recent sort of movements compared to anything else? Not that I'm saying like we should expect a video from you about that, but how do you feel about it in general as a sort of
you mean in the political sense, like
because we've seen how it's affected the US as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's definitely... I mean, we've got a federal election coming up, and I had an old tradition of I used to do top 10 cooked candidates of the election videos.
Damn.
And I think this time around, there's so many cookers, and I don't need to prepare. I could do that video, like, off the top of my head right now. Like, I could just...
All right, that's it. Here we go. All right.
Let's go. We brought him in.
We're counting down.
Battlefail'D, Melbourne. No, we lied.
But no,
I am going to get onto those things. I am interested in it. I do think that the whole thing has been co-opted by various political vultures who have to tread this weird thing where they. And you're going to say, my understanding, I haven't watched Battlefail'D Melbourne.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I haven't watched it yet.
I've only watched the first 2 minutes of it, and I was like, I got to get Tom on. I've reached out to a few other people, and I knew exactly. I was like, there was a few other guests that I had considered, but I was like, no, I can wait for Tom. These videos are important to him, and I know that this is also going to be important to him. And I'm glad we waited. Frankly, I want to see what $160,000 was. How much was that? Was it 100,000?
It was over 100,000.
I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah, I think it was 106 in the end. Yeah, so they got $106,000, and I have, look. Here's the thing. I thought it proper to say what we said at the start and to just go, I don't think we're going to have a good time. I had a comment from a follower / mate just earlier when I announced on Instagram that we'd be doing this tonight. And they said to me, it is worse than you expect.
Sure.
Grating, pretentious, shit editing, obvious stock footage. It had over $100,000 donated for the creation.
$160,000. I just for a general consensus. The main thing that I've been told is that again the editing and the audio is terrible. If at any point tonight, and this is a challenge for our wonderful audience. I cannot thank all of the people who have already followed and subscribed just in the past 3 minutes. That's more than I usually get in a month. So we'll get to that in a second. But if at any point the audio is awful from either myself or Tom, call us out. It's as simple as that. And to make matters worse,
let's get a real call-out culture going.
Exactly. Cancel us and our audio. That's
Cancel
what we want.
Actually, can I use that, though, Harrison, as a segue to say to people, and this was my idea I had with Harrison just before.
Yes.
I don't know how many people there will be throughout the process of this commenting or what have you. There could be bugger all, it could be heaps. Doesn't matter.
I try not to
What I want to say to you all is that you reserve the right to collectivize in the comments. And if you let Harrison see that you all want it to stop.
Yes.
Like if you cause a revolution in the comments, then we'll stop. And I say that because, this message, it finished. I didn't finish.
Sorry. Yes. What was the message
the last
you talked
sentence
about on IG? Yeah.
The last sentence was, "You will not enjoy it, even as a laugh."
Fuck.
Yeah, and we're up against that. I think that this is an opportunity for us to condemn the video, to condemn each other, Harrison, for having. To condemn your followers. For having encouraged you.
I was going to say, one of our wonderful, beautiful, kind mods, the always wonderful Grass Dragon, she has put in the chat now, the mods have unionized. They are ready for a Velvet Revolution.
Velvet Revolution.
Just in the comments.
Shit, they're going to hang us. They're going to fucking hang us by the end of
I believe they are rolling out what appears to be a series of duck gifs and some sort of guillotine of some kind. But no,
they're all going to pretend that we're in Senator Bill Heffernan's list of 28 pedophiles.
Oh yeah.
That's the Velvet Revolution thing. Jokes for cookers who spend 8 hours a day looking at fuckwits like I do.
I'm pretty sure there was. I can't remember the Twitter account, but I'm pretty sure they were asking for some hangings, Hague style, and Nuremberg.
I would love to, and I would love to indulge them. Indulge them again. That'd be fun. Go out there with it. They haven't had their guillotine for a while. I wish we had seen a few guillotines.
That's true.
Up in
I forgot that they had.
They had the nooses and such.
Yes.
They needed that shit up in Canberra. You know what I mean?
Oh man, it's gonna be a dark night for us. It's gonna be a dark tea time for the soul, as Douglas Adams once wrote. Tom, shall we get into this?
Let's do it. Let's just fucking do it. I'm going to press play.
Yeah,
is that what I do?
Go for it. That is literally what I'm going to do. I'm going to pause the music and let's get ready to rumble.
Let's party. Now, I am good, by the way. I'm going to prioritize trying to do running commentary on how bad this is whilst letting it play. But if if just let me know if something really comes to mind, we'll
exactly.
You know,
we both have control of the remote.
Oh, we both have control.
Yeah, yeah.
Excellent.
But no, I'm letting you lead this because I probably only know about 10% of the people in this video.
I think it's going to make me angry. I think I'm not going to cringe. I think I'm just going to go fuck off a lot. That's what. It's the mood I'm feeling in. Look, I'm feeling a bit spring-loaded this evening, and a bit resentful. So
I feel like if that comes to it, we will have a fuck off counter in the corner, and we'll see how we go. Also, remember you can subscribe, you can donate, you can follow. The main thing is I forgot to ask, and you do not have to talk about this whatsoever. Is your Twitter account was suspended very, very recently. Did you want to talk about that before we start? Like, do you know why? Oh, well, yeah.
I want to talk about it more than I want to watch Battleground Melbourne. That's it, because this is the most significant event in a modern Judeo-Christian Western civilization. I would say it's the death of free speech. I think history will tell. That we'll look back and we'll say this is the moment the West died, and I think that the communism is obviously, this is when I realized that communism is really about, it's really taken hold, that the roots have sunk in deep and strangling off the Judeo-Christian West was when my Twitter account got deleted. I don't know if you've ever heard of a book called 1984 by George Orwell before, but if you read the events of that book, it's strikingly similar.
It's real similar.
It's very striking similarities to the banning of my Twitter account, and it's the worst thing to ever happen to not just me but Western civilization. And I think we need a velvet revolution just for that.
Yeah, I say we call Twitter. Who's got Twitter? If you've got Twitter's number in the chat, do shout it out. Just put it in there. No, it doesn't technically count. Oh, my girlfriend's in the chat now, who I said 7 words to before. I was like, bye, baby, I gotta go stream. She has just said, I heard they are already writing a Bible-style book about Tom getting banned on Twitter.
Yeah. Well, so they bloody should. You know what I mean? I mean, I need to go and get a professional. I need to get a professional photo shoot with tape over my mouth. Oh. They used to do that years ago. You need to go, a silenced band.
Yeah, you could be an edgy comedian from 2004 who...
I am edgy, Harrison. That's why I got banned, because I'm so edgy.
True.
I'm cutting edge stuff. You know.
You did get that last photo shoot of you being crucified by a microphone. That just an atheist on your forehead. It's real rough times. Real rough times for Tom Tanuki, staunch atheist comedian. Fucking hell.
Okay, let's go. Let's go. Battleground. Let's wage war in Battleground. Melbourne.
Also, let us know if the video audio is not high enough. We can obviously also affect that. But Tom, please take it away.
I want to say to the people of Victoria that I'm sorry.
He just farted.
Fuck off. Corny. Problems already.
I'm sorry I didn't do something sooner.
You're a cop, man.
Yeah, I was gonna say this guy's pretty sure this
guy's the cop. Like, he's like the this whole movement of bland cunts. They venerate cunts with jobs. Like the kinds of jobs that you loved when you were a kid, like a
fireman.
Like in Canberra, there's a guy who's a pilot or a fire. If they quit because they've turned into a kook, but they're like a job that you go, I want to be that. When you're 5 years old, they go, that's amazing. You know what I mean? Like they go, thanks for standing up for the people. Well, anyway, this guy was a cop. He's probably killed 100 people in custody. He's
allegedly,
a fucking animal.
In Minecraft, in Minecraft, he's killed 100 people in Minecraft.
In Minecraft, he's got a 40% likelihood that he's a domestic abuser. Statistically, Google that. Google 40% of cops.
Yeah, 40% of cops. That's exactly how we do it. Sorry, it looks like I'm having box wine this evening. We talked about this. This is just gin and juice.
Box cocktail.
A box cocktail. Sorry, Tom. That is correct. The best 40% correct a cop could ever be. Also, 11% of cops, which is apparently 11% of them are only. That's apparently the success rate for most cops in the United States. They only get 11% of the job done.
Wow,
which is great. But
congratulations to them for that 11%. look, I gotta go. We're gonna keep going.
Sorry,
but I just wanted to say I find it very nauseating that this movement venerates jobs in the way that it does. It's very bland. This is one of the deeply corny things about this movement that I find at once charming but also really sickening.
Oh boy.
Fuck you, pig. Fuck you, pig.
Sorry.
Fuck you, pig.
I swore to protect you, and I failed.
I feel like that should be the opening of your next video.
No, you swore to be a cop.
Just shot for shot.
I'm trying my best to make up for that.
By being a cooker. Oh, go to hell. This is so corny.
Everything.
I knew they would
risk
let all the
shit.
corny doco
I'm
tropes.
prepared to give my life in pursuit of that forgiveness.
I mean, give the man a back of a chair. He's got a lack of a spine, sure, but he deserves
he's
at least
having a
back of
genuine
chair.
sook.
Oh man.
They genuinely believe their own sooks. Like, I really do. This is not
Melbourne.
exciting. That is, I have used that in videos of mine before. That is royalty free. That is someone has used it. I've used it in a Million Flag Patriots video many years ago. I have used that there. Now, as we said before, and let's just
for copying your parody videos.
It'd be pretty fun. Well, look, let's just bear in mind that this person received $100,000, and he's ripping stock footage clips off YouTube.
$160,000. Just a reminder.
It is 60, yeah. Okay,
$160,000.
cool. Okay, so it's already
Australia, named the world's most livable city 7 times. Sporting capital of the world.
Okay, they didn't license that AFL footage.
Cultural capital of Australia. A beautiful place to walk or run.
Sounds bad in this. Like the music is a lot
Melbourne.
worse than
My home.
Before COVID,
have you ever seen? Can I, by the way,
Melbourne's
can I
place
just
to
say? Just
I
go
was going
back
to
a
say,
sec.
yeah, sorry,
Can I just say-
yeah, sorry, I'll pull it back to Topher.
Toverfield,
Yeah.
look at the cunt's teeth as you go through the thing. Now, look, we're in a country. Now, look, we're in a country where we haven't. Oh no!
Sorry,
not
no.
him.
I was trying to get to where we're at. So keep talking.
Yeah. So the thing about his teeth, right? We are in a nation which has, Medicare does not extend to dental care and what have you. So we don't want to go too classes or what have you. Although, are we being classes about a man who just made over $100,000? Maybe you could spend some of that on his teeth. But I just do, as someone who has to look at this cunt in videos and finding him to be a real repulsive cunt, I just notice his teeth. He looks like the Sarlacc from Dune. I urge you to note that as you go through the documentary. When he opens his mouth, it's the Sarlacc from Dune. It's fucking sandworm.
I was going to say, first of all, as someone with terrible teeth, completely agree. But secondly,
I got terrible teeth too, but they're not like that.
Secondly, the man looks like if L. Ron Hubbard had way too much plastic surgery. Like there's just an acuteness about his face. That is, I'm gonna just in a comparison. People don't know what L. Ron Hubbard looks like, who is the founder of Scientology. Like not even seriously, like the same facial structure and everything, especially for like a young L. Ron Hubbard would not surprise.
But Topher has more face, though. I think. Yeah.
Just more. He's got more face and more teeth.
Yeah.
Tom, sorry. Continue when you.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. Sorry.
Toverfield, director of Battleground Melbourne. That's what it says in the corner.
Before COVID, Melbourne was the place to be. It had amazing nightlife, amazing cafes, beautiful beaches.
Melbourne was home. Melbourne's where I've grown up. Melbourne's the city.
Ah, boy, we couldn't get 2 minutes into it before seeing the man, the myth, the chopping board. That is Avi Yemeni.
It's just aesthetic has gone very odd. I feel over the I don't know what it is. It's like a There's a shade of like 2000s Chapel Street Metro in it to me.
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
It's like
it looks like he's about to tell you about this new band Franz Ferdinand that he just heard.
Yeah, like he just put his, I just don't, I find it terrible, and that's a huge rip in the jeans. But he's been doing that a lot, and they sort of come up, and they're almost like 3/4 shorts, but very tight
really
ones,
high up. Like they're the kind of pants that you wear when your mum says like you'll grow into them, but you know that they're way too tight. And you're like, I'm not.
That I've always loved.
I had hopes and dreams and creating a life with my partner. Plans for my future, just like anybody else.
She just happens to
myself included. Many people from Eastern Europe, many people from Latin America, many people from Asia.
Can I just say, so that guy Jerry Jerkwe Anyuan, South Sudanese bloke, he used to send me DMs on Twitter for years. He just going, oh, let's have a debate. Let's have a debate. I just ignore him, He's just charmless. He's got nothing. He's just watched a lot of interchangeable US talking head debate me videos, and he never had any talent. But this movement has been a great networking space for people with any talent to sort of like to cultivate themselves.
To Heron Sheik in the chat. He was on the mic today.
He's a terrible speaker. He's the shittest speeches. It's just like, he's got his one angle is going, I'm South Sudanese, but I love Australia. That's it. That's got, basically everything else. That's him in a nutshell there.
Okay. All right. That's kind of sad. Like it's, it
is sad. It is sad. But it's filtered through a lens of Ben Shapiro style owning.
Yeah.
Very boring.
We're seeing Australia as a home that they can go and realize their new life in.
It was a place full of culture, full of richness, full of art, full of people. Yeah, feeling connected. It was everything.
That looked like Harrison McLean in Shadow. Why the fuck?
Do you reckon?
I mean, a little bit, like, in terms of profile. I mean, I could because I've seen that idiot's face a lot in the past week, but maybe he'll turn up later in the documentary. I don't know. Somebody said it's...
What is this parasite about to tell us about how great Melbourne has been? You've been being a parasite in Melbourne and a fucking leech off of people's time and energy for years. This guy wouldn't know anything about Melbourne. All he spent the past several years doing is harassing people.
It's a real bummer.
It kind of ticked every single box until COVID.
Staff at Wuhan Hospital are working around the clock to identify a mystery virus.
This is the suspected source of the virus, a wholesale seafood market in Wuhan.
The number of people who have died from a new type of respiratory virus in China has now passed 40.
Do not travel to all of mainland China.
I first became aware of COVID when I saw on...
I don't want to know when these come. Listen, Millie Fontana, I can't recall. I think the anti-lockdown but kind of cleaning channel.
And she looks like a lot of waiters that makes me glad that we don't tip in this country.
Well, she's not just that. She's the daughter of, maybe people in the comments might
somebody
remember.
Said Bartolo? I mean, is that a reference?
James Bartolo? I'm not sure. She's the daughter of people within a certain far-right party, as I recall, or a Christian thing. And she actually had a guest spot or two on Get Sky News back in the day, as I recall, doing like anti-LGBT, anti-trans thing. I think she's got Christian-fundy parents. She's by no means just randomly part of this movement.
She looks like someone who would try to fight Daisy Cousins and then lose.
I'd like to think anyone would win against Daisy. Do you imagine that fucking tea cozy beating anyone?
On the news, images of people laying in the streets of China, seizuring.
And being carted away. And so, of course, it frightened me, as it frightened everybody.
I was doing a part-time job at the time, and one girl started wearing a mask to and from work in the train. And I was like, that's strange. And I just thought it would go away, but then it didn't.
Yeah, these things come around.
She always has this 3
or 4 years, SARS, MERS.
We're both trying to pause at the same time. It's boy.
She always has this real like Monica Smith I always describe as being really happy to be there. She got real happy to be here vibes, and they always come out in her going. And she does a little stunt at her rallies, and she always goes. She very much wears her expressions on her face. She's definitely, you know, she had a, what does she have? There's a video that's still online. She had a Survivor audition back in the day. Just definitely, and this is like very endemic to this movement. Just people who really real deep normies, and they just really just wanted to be famous. You know what I mean?
They just want
lots of them.
That's a lot of stuff, and especially, I mean, people. If anybody knows Steven Crowder's horrible, you know, prequel series of his life where he tried to be a shitty comedian and a shitty actor and stuff like that. A lot of these people are failed comedians, like failed people who try to get their foot in the door but don't really have enough talent or charisma to actually to bring anything. And I can say that as a failed comedian, there are other things you can do, and you don't have to be bitter and twisted and fucked up and deal with the worst people in the world to just try and get your face in the spotlight. Like it's just kind of it's just a bit of a bum up more than anything else.
I don't need to. I don't need to be told by Battlefail'D's documentary about the novel coronavirus. That feels like a bit of an insult. Like, you know, I don't need to get like this documentary history of the early pandemic from someone who's never believed it. You know what? Battlefail'D did one of the very first anti-lockdown protests. From the very beginning, he cannot pretend to say, oh, you know, it was scary at first. No, he was grifting from day one. So, all right, let's keep
Bird
going.
flu, swine. You know, 9 times out of 10 they blow over. It's nothing. 1 time out of 10 you'll get a Spanish flu or you'll get an AIDS.
Victoria will be in lockdown for the next 48 hours.
Hold on a second. There's a big difference between the Spanish flu and AIDS. Like, there's a quite a wide gap, Mr. Business Owner. But like,
but what is this cunt? He's a business owner. This is another thing this movement does, particularly over Victorian lockdown.
I'm going to move us around a little bit so people can actually see the what these people actually are. Sorry,
that's a good idea.
There we go. Yeah,
that's a good idea.
You can see in the corner the terrible phrasing that people are getting. Yeah. Oh, boy.
All right. Daniel Andrews.
A state of emergency in Victoria. These are not designed to have 0 new cases. In effect, nothing we do can deliver that outcome. This is about, as everything we're doing, is about flattening the curve.
And they said, we need 2 weeks to make sure that we can get this under control. I and many others thought, okay, all right.
I don't remember at any point any administration in the world saying, oh, we need 2 weeks to get this under control. I feel like that's you intentionally imprinting false memories on yourself.
But also that kind of folk wisdom has prevailed in this movement from the day. These are the kinds of people who go, oh, I never get colds. And then that becomes like, that's what they go that. And you know what? I used to say that about myself as well. But, you know, in the pandemic, you start to learn a bit more about viruses and things like that. And you go, oh, you know, obviously it's a good time to learn a bit about viruses and stuff. I mean, these are people who cling to that folk wisdom, and they love going, oh, I didn't get it. It wasn't that bad when I got it. So it's not a worry, not to worry. Oh, you said it was, and this is the same thing. This is, you said it would be done in 2 weeks. Well, I mean, you know, if anyone did say that to you, well, you know, they were probably just reaching a bit in hindsight as well, and they were wrong. So, but what's this kind of childish thing where you go, you said it would be done and it's not? I always say
Are we there
this.
yet, Daniel Andrews? Are we at
I always fucking say this. The pandemic, and this is the one thing these cunts refuse to get into their heads. The pandemic is not a state government rollout.
No.
It's not like the Pink Bats program or like a new Centrelink benefit or like the government rolling out tax breaks next year or like Daniel Andrews installing, you know, underground rail passes, you know, where he can fuck it up and then get in trouble in the media.
Yeah.
It's a virus. And this is the problem that they have. That's why they've always got this kind of like churlish sense of like, oh, you keep changing your messaging. Well, because the fucking virus is there.
It keeps evolving.
Because Daniel Andrews isn't behind it.
And it's also the irony of like being part of those movements. Like, you keep changing your messaging. You keep changing your demands. Like, the irony of that, you are like a physical manifestation of the virus in that you continue to evolve and change, and yet you never really seem to... We can't seem to get rid of you, frankly. It's what we all want.
These cunts are the oldest variant. Yeah, they've stayed somewhere in March 2020. Yeah. All right, let's go.
So we'll do the 2 weeks. We'll do the hard yards for 2 weeks, and we'll get through it, and that'll be that.
I was one of the people who actually pushed for an early lockdown, like 4-week lockdown in March or in April.
I was one of those people that went, okay, well, we'll go by those rules. Mum and Dad, you can't come over. We've got to be really careful.
Okay, 14 days to flatten the curve while we prepare.
I will say one thing I've seen
They did all do this. There's lots of them. There's Avi Yemeni videos earlier on in the pandemic. Well, that's when they understood the messaging. But it's before they all slowly gave each other the permission to be fuckwits about it.
Yeah.
You know,
like,
and before it started becoming clear to all of the influencers that they could make money out of pretending that what was happening was not happening. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And once that started, I see they're all real pack animals, these people. You know, and they're all real weasels and pack animals, and they slowly give each other permission to be bigger and bigger fuckwits about like really basic stuff. So while they all got it, or lots of them got it in March, and then they proceeded to unget it over the following months, and then they just stayed more and more firmly ever in this position of ungetting it ever since then, because that makes them feel better, and it's a space in which they can all impress each other, and that's what's important to them, impressing each other.
It's really depressing that, and I've said this before to a lot of friends of mine, where it's like, some people never really get out of high school. Like, it really feels like that's where their cultural knowledge, and that's where I'm so sorry that you can hear my dog in the background, but he's very excited to have Tom as a guest here. But it's where their cultural knowledge and it's where their social skills stopped. And it's why they're always talking about mum and dad and always talking about family. And it's like, I get that you don't have any life outside of that, and that's totally fine. But it's also not a way to live your life. It's a bit of a bummer, gotta say.
Yeah.
Oh boy, sorry. Let's
the health system. That's fair enough, and I was willing to. I don't think I barely left the house, and I followed all the rules.
We, like most other people,
how noble,
bought the original line that was.
Okay, so this is
they
one
need to buy
parasite?
some time to gear up the hospital system for the influx of patients.
I don't think that's an unreasonable thing to be concerned about. I am not against trying to protect the medical system. Let's just see what happens.
I agree. So much was unknown.
And to Voice of Victoria, Emily, was one of the parasites who tried to straddle the Cooker movement and the political aspect. So sort of she was an early entrant to bridging the gap between the various parasites from the far right parties, but also, there may be the right fringe of the Liberal Party who would be willing to maybe deal with the more salubrious among the cookers. You know what I mean? To try and make something with a bit of political will behind the movement. And of course, you end up in a bit of a jam when they do things like bring out fucking nooses and shit like that. But this is why they sometimes do things like they try and keep them on board. They try and please them by like the other day in Canberra, like they'll give some cookers, Craig Kelly will bring him into Parliament to go and hand a letter to Scott Morrison, and then they come out and then they go, "Oh, we didn't get to see Scott Morrison, of course, but we gave him our demands. Now we can all go home." And then that's a way through which Kelly gets to basically stop these cooker movements. He wants to keep them as a voting bloc, but he also doesn't want them to land him in legal trouble by them, blowing up Parliament or something like that. So he's in this, he's creating this dangerous movement, but they don't want to get in too much trouble for it. So when I call them all parasites, particularly the political class who are in this documentary, whether it be Craig Kelly or any of the rest of them, that's what I mean. They're trying to get the movement as popular and as big as needs be for them to get their little minimum 4% vote so they can get AEC funding, whilst at the same time hoping that they don't blow anyone up.
There's somebody in the chat called Sunny Sandy D who says that they're mates with Millie and that they co-founded Voice for Victoria together. And I'm wondering if you... Obviously, we saw Voice for
Australia. No, Sandy. Oh, g'day, Sandy. No, Sandy's saying that that Emily is mates with Millie.
Right.
I think also may or may not be related to Carl's J Soda, the woman who got $60,000 or something like that in order to whinge about businesses in a portrait Facebook video.
Oh, boy.
Because that's what the money was actually for, just so that, for her emotional whinge. But anyway,
sorry, we can.
This to do made sense. But 2 weeks turned into just a little bit more, and flatten the curve turned into COVID 0. And we soon found ourselves in a very strange place.
Can we get to 0? That is to say, can we get to a very low number, and hopefully none that we're out in the community? That is still absolutely doable. This thing, because it moves so fast, it's either lock it down and get the cases down to 0 or close to it.
Now, when
I'm
levels are
starting to
relatively
smell
low,
communism.
is a point where we can totally flatten that curve.
As time goes, the changing narrative from Daniel Andrews, the censorship about people not talking.
I gotta say, everybody wore their fucking Sunday best to their interview, and I've seen photos and videos of these people doing a lot of selfies, a lot of the putting the camera up first thing in the morning, not really giving a fuck. I feel like Topher must have sent them like a, and I'm not. This is not a conspiracy. This is just a general thing. It's like he must have sent just a blanket email that was just been like, hey, don't look awful when you turn up, because we want to make this as credible and as like intentionally normie looking as possible, because they like none of this goes into the background of these people beyond like name, what they do, and it's trying to make everybody look as great as possible when you know that, and we have receipts on this, that they're pretty not the best people to be talking about this overall.
Well, a lot of them are just, I wouldn't trust them to talk about anything. I mean, this guy he's just happy to be there, and he just wants to have a little video or two where he gets to chat with another far-right person and go, actually, I love Australia, but the left say that I shouldn't, they go, I'm black. The left say that I'm a lefty, but actually, look how much I love Australia.
Yeah,
that's all he wants to do. He's a simple man.
He's just deeply lonely,
binary person.
That's all it is. It's just they're
all
just
very binary. Yeah.
Not discussing the effect of the lockdown, I came to actually have a different perspective about Donald Andrew.
It seemed that the effects of the virus were nowhere near as bad as we were told it was going to be.
Any data that would...
Hey, just to let you know, if you don't understand...
this cunt, they're fucking violin cunt, every fucking rally. Every rally fucking... What is it? Sandy would know. What is it? Is it fucking Waltzing Matilda? Like a real sooky, sad version of it? And everyone in the crowd sitting there going,
I love my country! I fucking love violins! They're the opera of music!
Stone the Flaming Crows. Oh, bloody love Australia. God. He's a real fucking... Yeah.
I love the idea of Topher just being like, mate, just put, you don't have to hold the violin. It's like, I'm not going to hold the violin. Just put it down. Just put the violin down. What if I just rested on me? It's fine.
He's going to play it. He's got to play it.
Oh, man, that'd be so good if he plays it over the credits.
Arrive or be available to people that didn't suit the narrative that was being presented, was completely ignored. That just sowed deeper seeds of mistrust.
What they were saying was very contradictory to what was actually the truth, especially the survival rates and the degree to which they were exaggerating how much it was harming people.
And the first red flag for me was the moment the state of emergency was declared, because I went and read what it meant.
Avi Yemeni doesn't read anything.
I was going to say, I don't think
he doesn't read anything. Avi Yemeni, the first red flag for you was going, the red flag for Avi Yemeni was going, hang on a sec. My whole life is about being a diagnosed, might I add, narcissist and being out getting videos. But now I've gone and said the pandemic's here and I can't go out. I can't do that. I have to go and be in videos and make money from it.
I'm going to do stuff for Rebel Media.
That was Avi Yemeni's red flag. The only red flag to this cunt is when he's not fucking in a video every fucking minute.
They can enter my house. They can arrest me without a warrant. That can't be true in a democracy.
It was unclear what the future was going to hold for anyone, and that's, I guess, where the fear began.
Is there an opportunity to be free and open with 20, 30, 50, 100 cases a day? All the doctors tell us no, and therefore we have no choice.
I love that he's not putting any dates on these things, which is what a documentary should do. When just to compare and contrast, just show the differences between they said this then and then they didn't. You're essentially just showing us clips of Dan Andrews being really reasonable. Like just being,
I mean,
just
yeah,
being
you know,
okay.
I'm being given this ambient sense that suddenly the management of the pandemic started to feel not okay
And
to
I'm
them.
like, well, he's just regularly informing people compared to what most other state premiers didn't do.
Well, it's actually been pretty bad, the pandemic.
Yeah. I don't know if you've
I
had
don't know
anybody
if
die
I don't know
around
if
you.
the people in this channel are aware, but
Yeah.
there's actually been quite a few people that have died from the novel coronavirus, SARS-CoV-2.
Someone who had to attend their aunt's funeral via Zoom, not a great feeling. Not the best feeling in the world, gotta say. And it's great to see a documentary full of people who think that the last 2 years have just been a little bit shit if I'm going to be honest. To be honest,
But to follow advice that says we need to go harder and we need to go longer. There is no alternative for us but to listen to our public health experts, take their advice.
He wouldn't show us the science, only the opinions of his hand-picked advisors. The opinion...
Well, you know, see, the thing is that Daniel Andrews wasn't coming up with the science like usually like doctors and such were. And that was sort of becoming globally available.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. Again, I have to say this. I'll keep saying this throughout the whole thing. The pandemic is not a state government rollout. The state government rollout was the response to the pandemic. It was often excessive. I think at times you could say that in 2020, 2021, it was often like they were filling the gaps with coppers. You know, they did that a lot. They actually,
or military personnel.
Was sometimes. It was occasionally very classist, such as when they chose to lock down a fucking tower in Kensington full of predominantly African people, whilst people in Toorak fucking condos weren't could do what they pleased. It's had a ton of different problems, but that's because the state government didn't invent the pandemic. They were just trying to respond to it. And they were doing the same thing that any capitalist government would do, which is just making dumb, hypocritical capitalist decisions. Occasionally, and occasionally quite health-minded ones. I mean, good and bad.
All bad.
But, what I'm saying is that any problems or hypocrisies that occurred as a result of the pandemic is probably to do with the fact that the government didn't invent it. They just had to respond to it, and they often did it, imperfectly. So, do you know what I mean? And again, it's early in the pandemic. We're already branching off. Like a tree. There's a fork in the road here because we have to come back to this thing. You know what I mean? Like, do you think that the government invented the pandemic? See, if you do think that, then you do start to get pissed off with Dan Andrews. But you do realise that they're just awkwardly responding to an actual medical thing, then you can accept what I'm saying. But we're already branching. See, these people are inaccessible to us.
Yeah, they're creating.
We can never talk to them.
They're creating alternate universes as they speak. Like they're literally coming up with ideas and sort of fantasies just to fit the narrative that they want to push. And one of the worst things I have to say, and I'm pretty sure if you go to this fucker's website, I'm pretty sure that shirt, we can't see it because it's cropped out. And it's not cropped because I've cropped it for this stream. But I'm pretty sure that shitty shirt says, "Don't make me repeat myself." And it's a quote specifically from himself. It'd be like if I wore a shirt that said, "Oh, I'm really sorry. I had the mic on mute." Like it's the worst. It's why would you make that a quote for yourself? Like it's first of all.
Can you see that the Sarlacc from June is open? Can you see? You can see a little hint of it there.
I am afraid of what the species may tell me, and I'm afraid to put my hand in this box that they have given me.
Bro, he has teeth that are halfway back in his mouth. Like he doesn't have rows. They just appear along the thing. And that's why I say it's like the Sarlacc. It'll be like a tooth there. And it's like really horrifying.
Essentially, they're the calcium-formed tombstones for his mouth. But we digress.
Okay, listen, bro, before we start playing, we need to. I think we need to for a while. We need to get through this. So we need to. When we're doing our commentary, we can just let the damn thing play because a lot of it's free.
We're not really missing that much, to be honest.
Let's just stop it if something's really ridiculous.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But let's
we'll pace ourselves a bit better. Yeah.
Actually, I'm going to get my other beer while we do this.
No, that's all right. Yeah, we should do tell me what you drink. Go get it, and I'll shout out all the wonderful people who followed us this evening.
And then we'll keep going. Just give me 2 seconds.
Just we'll get Tom's going to go get his wonderful alcohol-free drinks for this evening. First of all, One Toxic Merc, Panda, Aeon Flux, Line Up the Snacks, Reverse Tulip, Sally, Kieran, Tom, Crunchy Moses, Menace Bunny, Proddy, Sputnik, Will, Old Mate Gara, Leaf, Mouth Money, James Brown, Cerebral Cereal, Turbo. So many wonderful people. I will hydrate. I will. John, you got it. Thank you so much to all the people who have followed this evening. A huge shout out to Moonbird. Thank you so much for the gift sub. I have no idea how to follow on this. You press the little heart button down the bottom. You don't have to do it. Don't make me do anything. Tom has returned. Tom, how you feeling?
Hi. I'm feeling good. How are you? Are you good? It's been good to chat with you about this. It's been good to chat with you and to cover some ground. I feel like we've covered some basics of, you know, what's wrong with these people.
Merc, I can tell you now, you've only missed 7 minutes so far. You've barely missed anything.
Because I like to chat about it. It's like you really could.
Oh,
you
so
know what I mean?
much.
I mean, if you think about everything that's come up, or there's movements raised for me, I mean, I could really take 10 hours to fucking really pause and talk.
I was going to say, if I didn't have a guest tomorrow night, which is Brendan Caulfield, the wonderful, beautiful composer for Smiling Friends, which just got a 2nd season on Adult Swim, we would split this into 2 videos, but we do just want to make it one stream, just because Tom's got a lot of videos to make, and I have stuff I have to edit for some wonderful people at Midsummer. But yeah, what are you drinking tonight, Tom? We should talk about that soon.
Well, I'm actually drinking non-alcoholic beers. I bought I don't know if anyone is a liker of wanker beers, craft beers like I am, but I got a little pack for Hop Nation. We're doing these things called Communities. There's like a 12-pack. I just arrived today, and it's like a bunch of different breweries doing 0.5% beers because I'm just generally trying to staff the booze at the moment. But some of these are really fucking tasty. So anyway, go onto the Hop Nation website if you want to get them. If you'd like to spend a little while, like me, not drinking booze, but pretending to.
Actually, I've said that apparently they taste great with rum if you do plan on drinking at some point, or for anybody else in the chat. I have not.
Well, that's the thing, Action Ref. I'm trying not to.
Yeah.
So, thank you. I love rum. Fuck, you know.
Oh, hell yeah. It's wonderful. But yeah, we should continue. It is a very long documentary. And also, if at some point this video does get taken down, I always have a backup on the Internet Archive. Don't hesitate to reach out to me or email me at totesvidya@gmail.com to get a copy of it. And
beautiful man.
Continue.
You're a beautiful man.
The opinion of a scientist isn't science. The data behind that opinion is where the science lies, and we were never allowed to see it.
Because they weren't showing the science and the underlying workings and these human rights assessments and things like this, they had to sort of evolve it into like an almost faith system where people have to, trust the experts,
not how science
trust
works.
the health
not
advice.
Well, it's because the state of emergency laws were actually quite opaque
Australians
at the start.
Naturally,
but then you recall
we had to
when
fill
they
in
tried
the
to make them
blanks
more transparent
to those questions because we just weren't getting them from the media, and that's really how you create a divide in the first place. Confusion is the ultimate weapon of control.
He's done an excellent job at leading people to divide one another. He's done an excellent job of leading people to turn into snitches, to ostracise anyone that doesn't go along with his narrative.
If the house 4 doors down from you's got half a dozen cars out the front, or your next door neighbour's making
a bunch of
it's
cars.
Clear they're having people over, well then they're not doing the right thing by you. They're not doing the right thing by anyone.
We kept being continuously treated as though we were doing something wrong despite complying.
Yeah, but hang on a sec.
And
there
this is
was
where
an overarching
the divide really started to sink in because we couldn't comply our way out of this.
I think that it's fair to say, and all of us will know people in our own circles, in our own lives, who are potentially
also
not necessarily following
these
the rules.
people were another thing that was terrible about the climate of fear because they were just denialists
they weren't scared
about
of
it.
a virus.
It's another
they
way
were becoming
of
scared of each other. They were becoming frightened of you know, is this person wearing a mask? Is that person staying at home? Everyone was watching what other people around them were doing, and it wasn't out of curiosity. It was out of fear.
Is that Mel?
And it was causing
yeah.
huge amounts of division.
Mel Ann?
It's hard to come to any other conclusion.
I had a run-in with
what
her
he's
at a
done has
rally
been
in Melbourne
deliberate
in December.
and calculated.
Oh, damn. Do you want to talk about that, or is that?
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm happy to. She goes to me. She goes to me. What did she do? She goes, she was talking to me about some fucking Facebook group that has people in there who don't like the Cookamoo, and she's going, when are you going to take responsibility for this Facebook group? And I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm not at a Facebook group. She goes, I have evidence you're in the group. I'm like, maybe I am, but I don't use Facebook. It's like for boomers, and I'm banned on it. Like, so I can barely even. I don't really care about Facebook anymore. You know what I mean? Like, it's just going. But I've seen comments in there from people saying they're gonna be violent. I'm like, well, just maybe message me later or something. This went for 20 minutes. Oh, very odd. Very odd.
Goes out once a day and stays close to home within 5Ks.
This has been the most insipid and diabolical.
Imagine being the composer on this, where it's like, hey, just make sure everything is in D flat and sounds like you're trying to score a horror. Oh, here he is, the man who wishes he was a real boy.
Can I just pause for a second?
Yeah.
Tell me in the comments, everyone, because I can see comments.
Yeah, I've given him the chat.
Can you hear me? And can you hear Harrison
over the video
when we're talking? While
I have turned the video down a little bit, so I've tried to balance out the audio. I am Cassidy said you can hear both. Tom's quite loud. I have turned Tom up because you want me to be. Wait, you want me a bit lower? Or I'm a little bit higher. You guys are softer than the video. Oh, that's not good. That's not good at all. Hang on, let me try and adjust.
I'll reverse tulip. G'day, reverse tulip. I know that.
Let me just check my audio settings because I'm pretty sure I can fix some of this up at the very least. I mean, the irony of us obviously dunking on the sound settings beforehand.
Well, let me just but hang on a second. You haven't received $100,000.
160,000. That's true. That's very true. Okay. I think I've adjusted it now, so we may be able to hear Tom a little bit better. And I have turned the video down, so it's just I don't want to turn myself up too loud because I know you can't see, but I've got a new mic, so I can just put it close to my face. I can just do that. That's just a lot easier. How's that, everybody?
Yeah, just eat it.
How's that? That's fine. I've used your money to buy this, not Tom's money, but I've used the wonderful people who have donated. That's a bit better for me. Okay, all right. Well then, Tom, I want Tom to be loud as well. I mean, I think that's the main thing. Yeah, you got to eat the one thing I didn't learn. Oh, I'm sorry, Monica Smith. Is the microphone not good enough? They said that Tom is good. Tom, you're at a good level.
I'm good. Okay,
that's
cool.
Great.
Well, I'll leave it to you lot then to say in the comments.
Exactly. Please let us know if you can't hear us.
I'll not worry anymore. I just worried while I was hearing.
No, that's fine.
But yeah,
I thought you were about to say some shit about Rukshan, who I detest.
I was about to say that. He's a very boring person.
He is super boring.
What do you say about Rukshan Fernando? I mean, I've spoken to people. For every one of these people, I tend to get messages once I start talking about them from people who knew them in their real lives because they'll have these sort of turning moments, And he and his family, I mean, they became like they were generally like conservative people, and then they became Trumpian types because the whole appearance of Donald Trump rejuvenated them. And this is like politics for people who don't really understand or can be bothered with actual politics. It's just like the politics of owning people, going like just being rude and then going, oh, you can't handle it, like that's what got him excited. And he's an idiot. He's got no firm sense of politics at all. I see this again and again. He's just regularly saying very silly things on Twitter,
Oh, man.
And he's just
it's
a
so
very
good
low-functioning person.
Yeah.
He always says this when he goes, people uncover this hypocrisy. The reason that it's so easy to uncover hypocrisy from Rukshan is because he changes what he thinks all the time. Because he doesn't have a firm political. It's like Trump could change what he thought all the time. It's that same.
They're just going where the heat is.
You don't have a political sort of locus. You don't have anything. You just like whatever suits the fucking current moment. Everything else, you recycle your memory chip. So, like, you know, he'll be like, lock everyone up who breaks the restrictions 1 minute. And then 6 months later, he's an anti-lockdown figurehead. And the only way he can reconcile that is by responding and going, ha, you think you owned me, but actually you didn't own me. And that's how he do that thing. He does that thing again and again. It's really sad.
It's again, it is like that drill tweet where it's like, I'm not owned as I turn into a smaller and smaller baby carrot. Like it feels. I just imagine that just him getting tinier and tinier every single tweet that he does. And just again becoming more and more irrelevant. A year from now, hopefully, when we're out of this pandemic, these people will go back to their lives and will just act like nothing happened, which is sad. In a sense, sorry, Grass got me very, very.
They will
good.
have their moment to leave the sun, although they're actually a very large supportive network for each other now, though. Yeah. So there is that.
That's true.
They're incredible. Like I think the left is nowhere near as supportive of each other as like these guys. They're definitely good at building and then providing for each other pathways, even though they're mostly all talentless. You know what I mean? They are. Most of them are quite talentless, but they make up for that lack of talent.
Thank you so much, Hannah.
They're onboarding pathways for each other. Okay, let's get going.
Let's continue, The more we complied, the more confusing it got, because these rules would shift. There was no consistency, and this so-called health advice
thank you, Hannah.
was ever changing with no transparency.
Well, there was constant changes. Yes. Really, there was lots of changes, and it was very frustrating. I know, I understand, I agree.
Shut your business down, open it back up, but only for 10 people.
Yes, there was lots of changes. Yes, very.
I am terrified that I may grow into this man because I haven't trimmed my beard.
These fucking goalposts have rocket boosters on them. And he was right. They did. You couldn't keep up with it.
From midnight tonight, you will be allowed to remove
couldn't
your
keep up with it. I
outside
feel like these
to drink
people
alcohol.
have a goldfish memory.
No
like
removal of masks
genuinely.
to consume alcohol outdoors. Police will be out in force, and you will be stopped, and you will be asked, and you will need to demonstrate that you are lawfully out.
Kelly. Well, I wish I
was probably quite shocked with how
the
much
Butsman,
attention
but with one
was
T.
suddenly focused on him. And so I think what we've really seen with Dan is a gradual progression of the negative outcome of misplaced attention.
Please say it.
And he's really grown into his character being the sole focus of this health crisis rather than the crisis itself.
No. You guys developed a hyperfixation and a deep parasocial relationship with him. That's what happened. Because Dan Andrews was there every day, he became, for many people, the main character of the pandemic. You know what I mean? The main character. And so there was a nauseating, like, fanboy thing going for him among the sort of like the broken type, like, Labour left on Twitter, but then also these people were doing the same thing. You know, they were like the PR guy of the far right. You know, they were just like obsessed with Dan Andrews, but in the other direction. It was nauseating because, again, how many times am I going to say this? The pandemic was never a state government rollout.
We couldn't see the science, the human rights assessments, or the exit strategy. Say we get to COVID zero, then what? Lock out the world
I
forever?
actually
What's
understand. So there was somebody who I wish I remembered who they were. There was a very, very wonderful person who tweeted at me before we did the stream, talking about how terrible the audio is. When it cuts back to Topher, the director, it's something that I used to do in all my old videos, where you isolate the sound, so you kind of cut out as much as you can, so it sounds as clean as possible. But if you do it too much, it sounds hollow and shitty. And that's what he's done. Like, it's like year one level. Like, you don't have it in your videos, and I don't have it in my videos anymore. But it's like year one level of like audio editing, and I just noticed. I'm like, why does his audio sound so weird compared to literally everybody else's? And it's because he's
Here's the deeper problem. He did it all himself.
I know. That's
saving
$160,000.
They used private security because they wanted to, and at an initial cost of $44 million.
And I didn't use a sound editor because I wanted to.
Now, in theory, this may have been fine if the money that got allocated actually went to highly professional.
Okay, that's in the video.
Sorry to pause. I know we said we wouldn't. What's going on with that music?
That music's in the video.
Security personnel.
What in the Kevin McLeod is that shit? What the fuck?
Hold on.
Monkeys spinning monkeys.
What's the exit plan? But all of a sudden, COVID-0 fell apart.
That was very odd editing.
50 cases
because it's like super serious music.
Back to the quarantine hotels where
like
security staff
double
broke
bass
the
and
rules.
then
Now the Premier has launched a formal inquiry to get to the bottom of exactly what happened.
Now to clarify, Dr. Kizza, we are using the parents and family pre-release. There was a version on BitChute which I just couldn't be bothered to use because I didn't want to give him the views.
Assertion he was unaware Defence Force help was on
so
offer.
bad.
Were you aware about the proposition?
I'm sorry, this isn't Marxist Barbie theory. This is Ken's drunk brother and his uncle
ADF
theory.
Officials asked whether Victorian authorities required assistance with its mandatory quarantine system on multiple
Why is he giving all the news on everything?
Daniel Andrews flat out lied to us.
This sucks
They
so bad.
used private security because they wanted to. And at an
It
initial
sounds like
cost
it sounds like
of
when Rob
$44
Brydon does the little
million.
man in the boxing, like.
Now, in theory, this may have been fine if the money that got allocated actually went to
I
highly
genuinely can't hear her.
professional, well-paid security personnel. It didn't.
Why did he choose this
large
weird,
chunk of
like,
it
okay,
Battleground
corral
_ Melbourne
music?
_
Like,
final
I'm just
_ final.
stepping into the tavern, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
Not
it's
exactly
going to be a
professional,
shootout.
to say the least. There was one
Howdy,
particularly notable incident where one played hard the sausage with a guest.
real.
So,
Oh,
if
spitting
you're
into the
talking about
spittoon, you know?
infectious
Let's just
disease
loop it.
training and management, that's kind of a failure.
Give me a whiskey.
800 dead, $44 million.
Oh, I told you you're not allowed to come around into these documentary parts now,
An
partner.
inquiry was held to find out who made
He
the
doesn't
decision to use
understand,
private security
like,
instead of accepting the offer of the
Nah,
aid.
comedy's hard.
The reason why
And like, well, like even like he didn't know that music had a saloon vibe to it. 'Cause
Yeah.
these people don't know what's corny. You know what I mean? And you don't know what's corny is because you don't know tropes. So if you haven't absorbed culture in your life, then you can't go, oh yeah, that's a Western song. I wouldn't use that.
is ongoing.
You know?
The Premier
It's
joined
so
a convoy
sad.
of people
Like,
unable
it
to
just
answer key
feels-
questions about the use of private security.
Daniel Michael Andrews.
And you're the Premier of Victoria.
I am.
The last and arguably most anticipated witness to front the hotel quarantine
What the
inquiry.
fuck? What in the fuck? Why is this going on so
This
long?
music is genuinely odd. This is genuinely confusing.
I thought it was going to just play once, and I was like,
Can
oh
I
yeah,
just
that's it.
pause for a
Yeah,
second?
go for it. Jesus Christ.
Okay, I just needed to like. I was genuinely started thinking maybe there's like a pop-up ad in the background.
Yeah, I was still. I
that
was like, I
playing
was
through
ready.
my
I was
headphones.
so ready to apologize. Like, sorry, I fuck. You know what? I've been trying to play.
I actually had to check then. I
I've been
swear
playing
to God, I was like,
Desperados.
this can't be.
Guys, thank you so much
This
for hanging
can't
out
be
for my
the
Western
music.
Saloon chat. I've been playing Saloon Simulator. It's been really, really great. Check it out. Anyway, guys, we'll see you guys next Tuesday. No, that's the music in this fucking documentary that's meant to be super serious.
But it's genuinely gone louder than the words in it as well. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like it's become louder. Okay, let's get going.
Sorry,
yeah!
I can't speak to whether
I wish we could do a do-si-do right now.
I want a shot of whiskey and I want to play some poker.
No recall of
Oh, boy.
a specific view one way or the other.
It is impossible to
Okay,
not
stop.
have that paper
Oh,
trail for
stop.
who is responsible for any given decision, in particular when you move money around. And I do not recall is not acceptable coming from those people that have those documents right there in front of them.
The way the media was kind of playing into it as well, in the sense of not really holding him accountable. He almost became the master manipulator of information and facts.
I can't believe for 1 minute that Dan Andrews does not know. Not for 1 minute. They all know.
Complete and utter liar. That is weak. It is a weak and gutless cop
Did you
out
see they changed
from a man
his
who
little
knows what he has
little
done
tag at the
and
bottom?
refuses
That's
to
just
accept any
illusion.
responsibility.
That was a good bit of drama.
It just shows no respect.
I'm
for
pretty.
people
Who
that
is that
he has
actually?
been
It's
elected.
not.
I'm so certain it's Harrison Ford.
And we're meant to believe that no one knows who did what. And these are the people that come out and say, trust us, we got everything in control.
Daniel
What the fuck
Andrews
was up
needed
with
to
the
get
sound
back
there?
in control fast. Just a month after the hotel quarantine disaster, he had a perfect opportunity to reassert his authority.
In an unprecedented measure, 9 public houses...
He's never cared that much about the quarantine thing. That weren't actually... He's trying to act like that was a big concern to them. They were only ever concerned about lockdowns and just being able to do everything that they did before. They never cared about the intricacies of government fuck-ups and such. I really don't believe that was ever a big priority.
They 100% didn't give a fuck about the towers.
And we've got not just
like, don't fucking put this in your documentary when...
but every postcode lockdown.
Yeah, they were never interested in the intricacies of some of them were interested. I mean, well, Serene Tefahar raised a copious amounts of money for legal actions against that, but she didn't end up being able to access that money. But yeah, some of them were interested in this, but they weren't interested in this because it was like a classist issue. They were just interested in it as another thing that government were doing to respond to the pandemic that they shouldn't be doing.
Had almost like a military takeover.
Prue McSween's really let herself go.
That they could just do that. Yeah, that frightened me.
Yeah, I agree, Moonbird.
When you consider that many of these people who were locked in there were refugees. So
I used to live down the road from it. Like I lived on
to look out your window and see armed men,
which is just around the corner from here.
People in uniform, and you can't even.
It's fucking heartbreaking.
And I've spoken to some of these people, and you know, it's an awful experience to, you know, be surrounded by police.
It's Australia. It's not supposed to be like that. Yeah, it's supposed to be free.
The Victorian Ombudsman found that human rights had been breached.
In a report released today, Ombudsman Deborah Glass was scathing.
It appears to me to be contrary to Victorian law, specifically the Charter of Human Rights and Responsibilities Act.
But there were no consequences,
never had
and the I Stand With Dan crowd loved it. They were
no, hang on.
No, that's bullshit.
No, hang on. Can't like PR guy on fucking Twitter or that whole certain category of people. Yeah, they were like,
the drip.
Thank you, Dan. But that was their job, literally. I think in some of their cases was to, you know, their paid job is to go, thanks, Dan, no matter what he did. They're pathetic. It's very nauseating, you know what I mean? But no, I mean, myself, anyone that I know from the reasonable left was fucking constantly decrying that.
Yeah.
Was decrying it very loudly. What's more, I've been standing outside those same towers. I know people there. I've organised along people who live in those towers for many years over a variety of refugee rights related issues. You know, this is not... These people never gave a shit about any of this stuff until it intersected with their pandemic denialism, which is as long as we never forget that what they are is pandemic denialists. That, you know, it all begins from a space of going, it's all bullshit. Yeah. It's all rubbish. You know what I mean? It's all true. We should just go back to before, you know. And from that, again, I talked about decision trees. You know, the root of their decision trees, it's all bullshit. And from there, they then start, you know, like making their political decisions from there. But they just don't believe in any of it.
No.
They don't give a fuck about refugees, mate. Come off it.
Protecting them from the Rona.
We make no apology for saving people's lives.
We were in the room and we had to make a very tough call, and we made it. And it saved
again,
lives.
so much of this stuff is out of context.
No science, no human rights assessments.
It's like, look,
no
I don't doubt that
strategy,
maybe some of it has to do with what
no
they're talking
room
about.
for
Just
questions.
put dates. Just put
Still
anything
such
to make
in your
this a
hotel quarantine
comprehensive
systems
story.
and
Like
contact
anything
tracing
at all from
that
where
you
you're
apparently
sourcing
can't
shit.
manage 2 to 3 cases of
That's
COVID
right, he was in the
a day
room
in
where
a
it happened, just
population
like
of about
Hamilton.
6.3 million people.
The musical we all know.
Well, you've made a number of assertions there, and
Well, they're all facts, actually.
well, no, they're not.
So why the need for lockdown?
Well, that's a very different question to the one that you asked at the beginning, where you contended that there were all sorts of confidence issues.
Well, I'm going based on that you said on the weekend that a lockdown was needed because contact tracers could not keep up, which would imply that you lack confidence.
No, that's not what it implies at all. That's not what it implies at all.
Stage 4 is here. Our COVID
This editing
hell
is
far
so
from
fucking
over.
atrocious.
Victoria is this very minute entering
Like,
a state of disaster.
The most professional thing about it is kind of like these cuts, though, I think, when he just includes other people's clips.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And they do the weird zoom in thing. Like, don't do that.
Yeah,
It corrupts
it's
some of
over-editing.
First of all, from 6 p.m. tonight, I am
This is
declaring a
odd,
state
yeah,
of
like, don't
disaster.
zoom it out. Don't.
1
And then
hour
you've
of
got a
exercise, no
faded,
further than
like,
5
blacked out
kilometres from
version
your
behind
home.
that's also
Recreational activity
like, just
is
leave
now
that as a
no
black
longer.
space. Why have you
Third
got? Why are
area
you
of
trying to
change
fill
for
as much
metropolitan
space?
Melbourne is
Let
that under
the
those state
clip
of disaster
breathe. Let it
provisions from
speak
8
for
p.m.
itself.
tonight, a curfew
But also,
will
sausage,
be implemented.
It wasn't
Sorry,
until
this isn't the
second
remaster. We
lockdown,
didn't want to
big,
use the
long
version
one,
on BitChute.
the really
Sorry.
harsh one,
with the curfew, with the rules to leave home.
We wanted to use the version that people paid
when it actually really
$160,000
started to
for,
hurt.
and then they premiered.
People can't book holidays anymore. You can't make plans. You can't
Bullshit.
die because then no one can come to your funeral. You can't go across borders.
I booked
so people
2
stop
holidays
planning
during
their
this time.
lives. And
Where's
people
the get
wake up
back out of
anxious
this?
every single day,
the
not knowing
6-hour
what the
version.
almighty Premier is going to do to them that day. It's absolutely a tactic of psychological warfare.
Yes, meant to be good as
Oh, shut up. This parasite, she started organising her little political efforts from as early as the pandemic as she could. She saw it as a moment to shine. That's why she loved it. She loved the whole thing about it. If the pandemic just ended tomorrow, she'd have nothing.
Well, the camera adds 10
Police
years,
then
Sonny
say,
Sandy.
These are hard rules to enforce. We reckon there's a bunch of people that are out and they shouldn't be out. Give us the clearest, simplest.
I
set of
do like
rules
the
you
fact
can.
that the variety of sources they're using, so like there's 3AW, Channel 7, Channel 10, Channel 9, like they're not just using Sky News, they're trying to use as much mainstream media as they possibly can to make a point about like, oh, the mainstream media lie to us. But it's also like, because they don't source it or like have a date or like timeline or anything, it just looks so out of context.
You feed people fear,
fuck off with
then
your
they trust
violin.
you more
No,
than they're
please!
to question.
The violin
And then, of course,
down,
any
you weird
questioning
fuck.
of that authority is then taken as a direct assault on the illusion of safety that authority has been providing.
The audio is awful here.
You know, these sorts of things never made any sense, and it's hard to get your heart behind to enforce them. But people were handing out fines left, right, and centre if they saw somebody out after dark. If you're specifically tasked for COVID, you're expected to come back with results.
Can we clip that he's had enough?
There were border closures between states, and a ring of steel was created around Melbourne, creating havoc in the lives of those who needed to travel for essential work or for hospital care.
Sorry, you have to
or
forgive
for
me. I'm
anything.
trying to charge my laptop.
No, that's fine. Do you want to pause it?
Inside a ring of steel, facing $5,000 fines if they attempt to visit regional Victoria.
And it's going to cause chaos, confusion, and even anger.
Well, imagine watching this as. Let's pause on this fucking idiot. Imagine watching this and that's just being like, yeah, I remember it. I'm like, yeah, this happened 2 years ago. Like, you should be able to remember it. If you don't remember it, I would see a professional, frankly.
I went to do stories in border towns where the science
Nothing's
must
so
have been
easy in this border
within
town.
2 meters. That difference in 2 meters, that on one side of that fence, within the same country.
Yeah, cunt. There's different states and they have different laws.
Oh, how crazy is that shit,
It's
Abby?
just incomprehensible that different bureaucratic regimes exist across borders. I can't understand it. It doesn't make any sense to me at all. You know, someone's just said in the comments, lol, says the IDF.
Yeah, this guy's
yeah,
got
you
a
know what? If
big
you need
poster
to
of
understand the
Gal Gadot on his
difference
wall.
between borders, try and think about the difference between the fucking Gaza Strip and outside. You know? Think about that. I think he seemed very clear on that one. Fucking dog.
On this side,
If he hates borders so much, why aren't fucking Palestinians allowed to enter all?
You go to jail.
Thank you, Cassidy.
Where on that side, COVID didn't send you to jail.
Yeah, no, that was good, Arby. What you said was good. Don't say it again.
It's quite literally a 2-minute walk across the river to see your family. We could not do that.
Because we don't know how to walk on water.
Cut off from family, friends, sports, church, community.
Oh, no, church was fine.
People began to
Topher,
lose
if
their
you remember,
minds.
church was pretty fucking
It was
good to
inhumane.
keep going, mate.
You couldn't even visit dying relatives to say goodbye.
One particular instance last year, a 20-year-old man was raised by his grandmother. They
Full stop. They just
was
cut
unable to
there.
travel to go and see her. She passed away while he was still in Northern Victoria, and he wasn't able to go and see her. She was sick for about 6 weeks, passed away and died. And that was the only...
You don't own, as an anti-lockdown movement activist, you don't own the pain and the travails of the pandemic. For one, actually particularly because you only pick and choose, but in particular because I would argue that the biggest pain of the pandemic has probably been the tens of millions of dead. Now, I do say tens of millions. Then, just on that subject, The Economist magazine, not exactly known for being a far left publication, do say that about 3 or 4 times more people, given the amount of nations that had a limit on their documentation of their citizens, or just failed to report their full dead,
like Russia,
or their hospital, exactly, their hospital system buckled or something, like in India. That's accounting for that. That they believe the best that they can say is about 3 or 4 times more people died, and their current estimate is somewhere around 20 million people.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest pain of the pandemic. That's not to say that the pain of people who couldn't be with their families as they died was not also a pain and a pain with it. But I've always found it really nauseating the way that these cunts have convinced themselves that they're the only ones who are allowed to go, oh, it's been really hard on people's mental health. Fuck you, cunt. You're the one who cavorted around in a fucking Q shirt on the streets, banging on and doing a little placards and holding a little red ensigns for the past 2 years. You've had it fine. You used it as used it as an opportunity to get famous or to grift each other. You've been in your element. You cunts have nothing to sook about except for a bit of pepper spray in your faces every now and then. Fuck these cunts. They don't have anything to whinge about. They're all denialists. They're kooks.
The person he had in his life that he had any connection to. He didn't have anyone else.
If he didn't have
Show
anyone
your
else,
beard,
if
you
he didn't have anyone
fucking
else,
ball sack.
how did-
Looks like fucking testicular hair on his.
You look at
beard.
incel
What a
Rasputin. That's what. Rasputin incel. But if also you didn't have anybody else, how did you hear about the story, buddy? It's like when you hear like a true horror story, and it's like, and then everybody died, and like,
thing is,
how
we
did
can't
you
save
hear it,
everyone.
motherfucker?
But what can change that is environment. And our state created an environment where this young man decided he no longer wanted to be here.
Oh, now I'm sad.
No one should sing the national
Ah,
Who the fuck is this?
Not this
free.
Talk about damn girl.
Piece of shit.
Talk about Catherine
look
coming
at it.
all over this independent. No, I'm not going to say that. Jesus
She's
Christ.
having a cry. To actually think that we are not 1 and 3 anymore.
They changed the lyrics, Catherine. If you've been following Scott
Fucking
Morrison.
parasite. This fucking parasite. She doesn't give a fuck about anything. From the very beginning, she thought, "Oh, here's some kooks. I can use them
God
to
damn.
get popular." She thought there's some kooks, and the first time she tried to do it, they all told her to fuck off. And she tried to tell them. Yeah, she did, and then Monica Smith grabbed the mic off her and did a little theatrics. Basically, she said, maybe we could social distance a bit so as not to get in trouble. And they were like, no, you're not telling me what to fucking do. And then they all got really mad at her. But she came trying again and again. Pick me ass cunt energy about her.
damn.
She
No,
doesn't stand for anything. She's just a pure parasite. I feel sick whenever I see her talking about 1 and 3.
What is the
fuck off?
Well, I want to know what fucking buttons she's wearing, because one of them. No. I was going to say one of them looks like a.
Yeah, maybe the borders will open and we can travel overseas, but we are going to be really free.
This is my impression of the composer for this music.
And we're not really 1 anymore.
We became
right.
absolutely divided by the government. The government divided us, all the governments, from federal to state.
Well, with sweeping shutdowns, border closures and restrictions
my favourite
continuing
place to get
across
the
the
news,
country,
the
there's no
morning
denying
show.
we're in the middle of an extremely
And
trying
Larry
time
Ender.
for business owners.
His
Come on
approach is
down,
causing
COVID-19.
unnecessary devastation to virus-free communities.
He should be having that 3-tier outlook, not just a complete blanket. It's just absolutely ludicrous.
Businesses across the state will feel let down today off the back of a 4th lockdown.
Broadly, all you have to do is walk down the middle of Burke Street.
I'm sorry,
Melbourne,
Polythium,
and
that
you
we
can
didn't
see
get
that
the
the city
proper.
is a
Oh no,
shadow
he's an
of
angry
itself
resident now.
in 18
Sorry, yes,
months.
Tom.
Can I say, we are 25 minutes. I want to see them.
Yeah, this is
being
insane.
cookers.
How little we're.
Stop trying to justify that you were all cooked on the streets. This is going on for ages.
You were cooked
How
before
long-
this. Like these people
Is
were
this skinny?
powder kegs. Like just.
Oh, I'm sick of seeing them go, oh, Dan, this is bad, and we were sad. No, just let's get to the rallies. How long? Does anyone know?
I'm pretty
How
sure.
much longer is this going
I have
for?
skimmed through it. I'm pretty sure they start talking about it like, and then we fought back. I think at the 30-minute mark. Like, so we can skip ahead if you want. I'm not a problem.
Destroyed what was
I
once.
want to fucking snap this Totes. I shouldn't say that. No,
Sorry,
in
Minecraft.
It made no sense.
I want to see him in a rally one day.
For almost a year.
Fucking knock his head off.
With those
Don't worry about it.
You go to the supermarket, no worries.
There's a lady I know who's got a
thank you so
kickboxing
much.
gym.
Holy shit.
Ruined, absolutely ruined.
Last week, her casual job at the MCG disappeared.
You can't, Dan Andrews can't just create a list of who can go to
Oh
work
no, I
and
have
who
a
cannot go to
business
work.
that was. I had to apply
Hundreds
some
of businesses
rules.
across the state that have just been hanging on by a thread, and that thread will be cut today.
The hospitality industry, we seem to be getting shut down first
Again,
and reopened last.
same
all the time.
fucking
We
audio
had
bullshit.
constant closures and
Awful.
no answers
Awful.
about how it was even sustainable to operate.
You know, they talked about, you know, hibernation, you know, we'll hibernate businesses. But, I mean, anyone that works in business knows that
Again,
things
this
don't
is all
work
bullshit
like that. One of the things that
considering
really
we
annoyed
had
me is
the
people were
fucking-
saying, oh, you know,
the job
people
keeper
care
thing.
about money
It was like,
more
just
than
apply for
lives.
job
But
keeper.
when
Why
you're
didn't you
talking about
apply
economic
for the
activity?
for the
Economic
what the
activity
fuck?
is people's lives.
We can't.
You're a
Also,
business.
there were bureaucrat. There were many bureaucratic inconsistencies in the life. There absolutely was.
100%. No one was denying that.
Yeah, there really, really was. I just don't see that the next jump from that is to okay, so let's just not do any of the pandemic measures. And they were never there during this lockdown era of the anti-lockdown movement. They were never there to go okay, because you go, what's your solution? And their solution is take it all.
But it's way more than that for the whole community.
But then you get into the problem of like the coronavirus. Everyone getting the coronavirus.
Yeah, everyone getting
sick
and
then
then dying.
Which was a lot more, let's face it, seemed to be, just the hospital rates and the preparedness of our hospital system, it was a lot more lethal at that point. You know what I mean? Like, you had a fraction of the actual cases in Victoria at one point, but almost similar hospitalisation and even death rates to what we're seeing right now with vastly increased case rates, And that's a matter of, like, different strains of the coronavirus, but also, like, the preparedness, we're better at dealing in the hospital system.
Did it all at once, then they couldn't be stopped.
But these people just wanted it all stopped because they don't believe in the virus.
I'm here on Poth Road in Tuesdale, where the owners of this barber say that they are opening their doors tomorrow, defying the lockdown restrictions inspired by Harry in Berwick.
Gyms in Melbourne.
Oh, that is a red, that is a lobster of a man. Why are you so red, dude?
We haven't had a case in.
Yeah, this is the era when if you had a little business and you opened it, then Harvey would come and visit you and you'd be a hero and, and they loved it because they get to be in a video and feel like a folk hero. It's happened to heaps. A lot of the actual influences that came to pass after that came from this era, like there's a guy, Nick Patterson, I think he had a gym and he opened it up. Well, he ended up running this group called the Peacemakers, which is like they play security for rallies, and they began during this era. So this whole bullshit, Harvey Yemeni onboarding these cookers, by making them, famous for a day, that gave a new generation of
pastor in Melbourne South East faces serious charges after holding a church service.
While organising the gathering may open up Pastor Paul to incitement charges.
I was just simply asking a question for what reason we
might
be moved on for. They decide to, assault me and take me to the ground.
A marathon
that's what cops do.
Continues
Tom's out.
tonight.
Tom's fucking done.
Are surrounding a synagogue.
All attendees are expected to be fined $5,452.
What the fuck is up with this music?
So this is the 7-time world's most livable city in 2020. No work, no school, no family,
Jerry
friends,
Bruckheimer
sport,
come in his
church.
pants. Holy
You're
shit.
still not allowed to see the science. And you definitely can't protest.
Young mum arrested in her home over a Facebook post has accused Victoria Police of being heavy-handed.
You're under arrest in relation to incitement.
Incitement?
What's that? Now, you're not obliged to say do anything, but anything you say...
We are a very funny country.
Well, they were breaching the coronavirus restrictions during lockdown periods, and then they were organising people to go out anyway.
Ultrasound in an hour?
Yeah, she's pregnant. That was the day that it confirmed to me that we weren't living in a liberal democracy anymore.
They had now made saying
They're always
something
very understated, these
on
people.
social media to be a crime.
A pregnant woman arrested in front of her children.
In fact, she had a child inside of her.
an event or a post on social media.
A woman was having a baby.
Hang on. A lot of these people, there was a lot of that actually.
Sorry, they got away with
a lot of these people would actually bring their
children
out to rallies. There's
true.
a real use your kids as human shield narrative with a lot, like tactic with a lot of these people. They've been doing it since the beginning. I remember the very first anti-lockdown rally in Melbourne. She was doing it. There was one mum who was like basically holding her pram with her kids in front of her.
Something was wrong in Australia. Cuffed.
Oh, shut up, you fucking dog.
Making a Facebook post.
You're wrong.
About gathering in a place that at the time had 0 cases.
The world was watching those scenes. The world was shocked that in Australia,
I don't think the world gave a
mother
shit
was being arrested for the crime of
at all. I think a lot of dead
What crime was
Italians
it?
and dead
There
Indian
was no
people
crime at
probably
that time,
gave
right?
more of
The
a shit
crime
about
was
what was happening
created
there.
to stop people
Russia.
from dissenting, and she was used.
They really
as an
love
example.
talking about this broad narrative, like the world was watching, everybody was talking about it. Like it was like you in 2008. Like it's like when like something fucked happened at your high school, and like everybody was talking about it. It's like, nah,
I believe
it was you and your
that was a
mates,
temperature
mate.
check. How would the public react to something
Avi
like
has
that?
a booster sheet.
It was displayed all over
shade.
the media.
It's gone worldwide. It went
Tally,
absolutely bonkers viral. I thought, this is the line.
That was actually one of the things that convinced me that I needed to protest.
I told you, 30-minute mark. It's like a fucking movie. This is their first act turning into the second. Anybody who's ever fucking written a screenplay or done like story studies, or like sort of screen studies,
I spoke at the first one with just 70 people at a place called Trafalgar.
It's a masterclass. It's a masterclass in documentary making.
Yeah, this is...
Oh, here we go. Why is he putting himself in there?
This really is
It was always just a little parasitic buzzing around.
I started
figure. He was trying to get his little curie figurehead thing going. He didn't get anywhere really, to be honest, until he did this doco. That was his first big gown. He's always trying to do little rallies ever since the beginning. He never had any juice, any fucking little energy that set him apart because he's shit, you know? The only real talent of this guy is that he hung around like a bad smell until it became his turn to get all these fuckheads to give him lots of
too
money.
much hardware.
And all of them seem to get that turn. As long as they don't piss off the right people in the movement. Oh, this is great. This is his James Bartolo video where they come up, the coppers go, we've got a search warrant. And he goes, no, you don't. Or we couldn't arrest. He goes,
we do.
It's like that.
It's
The logical
easy.
end of Solid ideas, just going, no, you don't have the thing that
Oh, we're cringing very hard, Red.
necessarily.
We're not even a third of the way through this.
Despite the intimidation,
Save those
the
emotes.
protest went ahead.
Oh, just letting it hang on that shot. Nice one,
homework.
Topher. Nice one to put that in there for
I
yourself.
looked at the Crimes Act and saw what police procedures were, what had to happen.
I don't think anybody
when
gives
I got there,
a shit about
I
any
sat
of
down
their speeches at
and
any
I
of
had
their
a little
rallies.
backpack with me, and
It's like a
right
shitty
across the
comedian's
way,
open
maybe
mic
30
where
minutes
everyone's
away,
just
I saw a
waiting to
group
get
of
on.
policemen who were standing around. Nothing much was happening. People were skulking around in little groups. They looked at me.
Let me
and
just say
they
this.
didn't really.
I fucking hate old people, but I hate old Australian people the most. In just the way that they all have the one way they tell stories as if it's the most... They could be talking about a lady fell down at fucking coffee club, and it's always the same tone, it's the same style of... Look, all my grandparents are dead, so I'm allowed to say this, but it's every single person over 50 tells stories the same way, and I fucking hate it. I don't know who taught them this, but it fucking sucks.
They're supposed to be selecting the best of us.
Not interested at all, and I thought that's good.
Yeah, learn how to edit Topher.
Almost be, walking past, and then we noticed there was hundreds
Of all the things, Brody, I was like, I fucking hate old
pretty
people.
much the same idea.
I'll fuck them, so I
I
won't
took
listen
out
to
a
them.
sign out of my backpack, and I hung it round my neck. And that sign
You got a
said,
granny,
"End
she's 60,
the lockdown."
I'll
honey to
I'll
a
be
bee.
there to love her
They-
and take care
they
of her, but if
immediately
she
took
starts telling me a
notice
story, I'm
and
out.
came over and started to ask me questions.
I miss my grandpa. That's why I'm so upset.
A group
That's why you're lashing out. and fucking other old people because you missed
It's a bad Oedipal complex. Let's just say that.
I have noticed that you've set this channel up basically the honeypot for the elder.
As we were approaching this
Twitch
line,
has the perfect audience.
I don't know why
50s.
you've done that. Yeah, it's not like.
sounded like
Sorry
a
to break it to you, Harrison, but if you're
but right
trawling
ahead
for
of me
elder oldies,
was a wall of
Twitch channels are
200
not
outlets.
way to do it.
And the protest was on the other side.
Oh,
So
this is
without
good.
knowing what
I
to do,
told
we just
you,
kept
30-minute
walking
mark.
and hoped we'd get through.
Freedom!
That motherfucker is 100% in here.
Off to the police station where I was
Come on,
held
Granny.
for
Oh,
hours.
arrested
Freedom's
grandmother.
got-
Oh, yeah, I'd love to
Let's
come
get
her
some
up.
Iris
fucking
scans,
Ooh, I'd love to
freedom
just
going.
train that granny.
fingerprints.
Oh, look at this bloody Nazi.
Oh, hell yeah. Pat her down.
Dan Andrews,
Held-
bloody
Ooh, violate those
copper.
rights.
That I would be held there indefinitely and put in front of a magistrate.
Oh, I'd
They
love to
gave us
put you in front
fines.
of a magistrate.
Told us that if we didn't leave the area immediately,
I'm so
we'd be
sorry.
arrested.
I'm so sorry.
And knowing there was no chance we could walk through from there.
I'm just a humble
And what would
Aussie
happen-
business
I'm
owner
sorry
who
to
just
do this.
wanted to
I'm
take
sure
a
there was
stand for
hundreds of
what's
other
bloody
people on that
right
day
and
just
for
doing
my
the same thing
grandchildren.
with
They
most
always
of the
keep talking
protests.
about, oh, I'm
They've
doing this for
blockaded
your
roads, they've closed
grandchildren.
public
For the
transport.
kids, gotta
You're
save
doing
They've done
this for
everything
your
possible to stop people
Facebook
going.
views, you dog.
But that particular day, there were thousands of
wedding
people,
videographer
and they
replaced
did
with
manage to
citizen
peacefully
journalist. Okay.
march at some points as well. So
I didn't even
overall,
establish
I saw
that he was a wedding
peaceful protest,
videographer, but that's fine.
and the beginnings of this more
He's got
intensified
4
police
layers of
presence.
shirts.
So for
It's
a group
Actually,
little
you're
too
quite
much.
right. He's doing the laid
I'd
shit.
say that
Yeah,
now,
definitely
people
Steve
were
Bannon
chanting
thing.
and shouting. And
Also,
making
Steve
their
Bannon,
voice heard at the
failed
shrine.
Hollywood producer.
Daniel Andrews is unworthy to lead a state that is built on the...
Oh, sorry, hang on a
Shut
sec.
up,
Why does he
Topher.
keep putting himself in? He is not the major figure of
I
this.
think it's so
What's
clear
blurred
what
in the
he's
corner?
doing, shutting down
What did you blur in the
Victoria
corner,
the way he is,
Topher?
and bullying us and
Whose
fearing
other footage
people
is
every
this?
single day and then stroking our ego
He's
and
ripping
patting us on the
footage
head.
from-
It's not okay.
Someone he doesn't like.
Yeah.
Alright. Oh shit, never mind. I'm not gonna say anything.
And then someone got the idea that we were to quickly walk away, and then all of a sudden everyone had sort of followed this lead, and all of a sudden it turned into like a party, like a freedom party. You know,
I hate.
Yeah, there's always been a
music,
real
people
day, and I will
dancing,
say this
singing,
actually, like for a lot of these
talking
movements, there's been a real day in the park
been in lockdown
time,
Yeah.
for months,
Splendor in the
leading
grass
up to this,
vibes.
so
Like
It's
this
super
is
it,
the
weird.
first
really,
time
really
that
has,
I
and I
felt
think you'll
like
find
I,
that you'll notice that. Like, I don't know if anyone here is like a big fan of QAnon Anonymous stuff, but if you
Finally,
listen to their
we had a
coverage
crowd.
of Q rallies in
But I had a
America,
feeling it
a lot
wasn't
of
gonna
people
end
are even
well, so
more like
after
that
an
over
hour
there.
of marching, some
Conspiracist
people, myself
rallies.
included, took our
People are
chance
just
to leave.
happy to be there.
Eventually,
Yeah, and they're just-
Because
only a
they're
few
actually
hundred miles
being
left.
around other people
Yeah.
who don't second
And
guess
then
all
all
of
of a
their
sudden,
bullshit ideas for once.
And
They're
don't
just
judge them.
happy to be there.
Yeah.
So when
Probably a
most of
good
this
100,
movement's rallies,
armed,
if you exclude the
public
tense
order
moments, the
response,
moments that
police,
this doco is
ready
going to be
to break
obsessed
up
with,
the
like, you know, the
protest.
coppers and the sprayers and
before we
that,
knew
when
it,
they
they
were
had
going
all
out
been
during
tackled to the
lockdowns.
ground,
Most
pinned
of this
down and
movement's rallies have had a real chill, like,
And
oh,
then at
I'm
that
just really
point,
happy to be here, vibe, with
there
all
was
these
more
kooky
police
people with
than
their
there
weird
were
little
us,
placards that
and
don't
so
align in any
my
way.
first
You know, this
instinct
person
was to
thinks that the
run
Jews
back,
did
just run
9/11.
across the
This person thinks that,
lanes
you
of
know,
traffic.
The
Bill
Earth
Gates
is flat,
is-
and also that the
is a
Jews
lizard,
did
you
9/11.
know.
For my life from the
Yeah.
And they
I
run
just couldn't
Hollywood
believe
and the
I
big
couldn't
banks.
believe what I was witnessing, where you had cops dressed in full riot gear against peaceful protesters.
Oh, now there were a few
And I
Nazis
saw
there,
them
and there were some
violently
people with
tackle
weapons, but that's
people
fine.
to the ground. And I
No,
thought,
no, the police are definitely.
Well, this is also a guy. This is a guy who said, you know, I shared this at some point a few months ago. This anti-police violence activist.
Was this in your
I shared
Avi
him-
Yemeni hotline video that you did?
Maybe, maybe not. But I shared a video in which he was talking about telling Vicpol to shoot to kill environmentalist protesters.
That's right. Yeah.
You know, again, it's like what I was saying about Rukshan before. They don't have any politics. They've only got the latest angle. So therefore,
Thank
they
you, Hal.
change. This is why they're always able to be exposed as hypocrites all the time, because they never mean anything they say.
Melbourne, and well, that day I ended up one of those sacrifices, I guess, to the Andrews government.
Oh, you love
In
being a
real
martyr,
sense,
huh,
we had
buddy?
won that day. We staged our biggest protest despite the police presence, the arrests, the intimidation. But it came at a high cost, with pretty much all of the organisers now on bail and unable to organise another protest. But Melbourne is an amazing city, filled with amazing people. And without anyone asking,
fucking hate
and
this
knowing
so
very
bad.
well the risk they were taking,
It really does look like he's
ordinary
very slowly
Melburnians
jerking himself
stepped
off
up.
while he filmed this.
We felt a duty, no more really than a duty, to do something and to continue growing the movement.
Bing, bing, bing.
The protests couldn't be stopped just by arresting organisers anymore. There were too many of them. They'd become a hydra. If you cut off one head, two
Yeah,
more
the
would
music
back.
really was an afterthought, huh, Topher?
Bing, bing, bing.
Protesters started with the Queen Victoria markets.
Oh, and there's the blur again.
It makes me think of everything we lost. Oh, I love it.
Learn how to mask your blurs, you fucking idiot.
Protests in Melbourne have broken out on one of the city's
Oh, the
biggest
music
days
just
of the year,
changed
but it's
mad
unrelated
quick.
to the Melbourne Cup.
Jeffrey, stop
Cup
looking.
Day 2020
Jimmy, I'm trying to watch a shit documentary.
was a shocking day for Melbourne.
Shocking.
I think
Shocking
it
day
needs
for
to
Melbourne.
be written into the history books that was the day that that freedom of speech died.
Everybody.
Yeah,
I love saying things like that.
yeah,
Didn't I
dude,
say that
yeah.
at the start over the loss of my
They'd never
Twitter
been a problem
account?
before.
Oh, fucking hell.
But this
We'll
time,
get
this
it
time
back.
was different.
We'll get it
They
back.
had a new plan and they knew exactly what they were going to do.
Kettling, if you're not aware, is when police surround a group of people and force them into a sort of enclosed
Oh, I thought it's
space
like
and
when
then
we just get a
process
bunch
them
of kettles and
one
we
by
just
one.
They
make a bunch
actually
of teas. Oh, here's that
got
hottie
people
back.
who were keeping their
Oh,
distance,
that hottie with a
wearing
body.
masks,
You
trying
fucking
their
love
best
it.
to keep to
You're
the
so
CHO
turned on.
directions.
Do you need
and
us to
the
pause
circle
this?
around them, closed in on them, physically pushed them.
And
Thanks,
the police
Jimmy.
circle surrounding the protest
Thank you, Jim.
just got smaller. They kept stepping forward a metre at a time, every minute or two.
There were elderly people there that were getting dehydrated, that were becoming
Then give them
unwell.
water. There's
We
meant to
tried
be
to call
people
an
like
ambulance for a
helping out
couple
other
of them.
people at these
The
protests.
ambulance wasn't allowed in.
Our water ran out, everybody's water ran out. And we were
What's he
thirsty.
doing?
We were
Our
thirsty.
water ran out when they
You're
didn't
a
have
business
water.
owner!
And then
Get
the
by the
stuff.
water, you fucking idiot! What a piece of shit. Not buying people water. What an anti-water dickhead.
Well, I always used to have the criticism of these rallies that they didn't have any organisation, you know, and they have come to have it lately, but at this stage they just had absolutely none, and it was because all you had was this ruling influencer class, all of these parasites in this doco and more besides, and all they cared about was seeing if they could get do the headline speech, or if they could, you know, how many views they could get at their live stream, or you know, it was all just a competition to do that. So they weren't thinking about the admin and the infrastructure, or whatever you want to call it, of the rally itself. So no one brought water. There were no medics. There were no marshals. There were nothing. And this went on again and again and again. And this is why you eventually had the violence begin. Well, you know, you remember there was this rally where people suddenly started chucking flares and stuff.
Yeah,
I'll give you a bit of a reveal. Some of those people were like, you know, there were people like, I heard once that some of them might have been bikies and stuff. Others might have been football casuals, shit like that. Some of those people, they were allowed in there because there was no structure to the rally. So they created a vacuum in which the roughest cunts could step in and cause a ruckus with the cops.
Possibly questioning the narrative or questioning
because they didn't care. They just cared about their fame.
Yeah,
they were realizing that they weren't
any
alone
cost.
and that
Like
their
it's
thoughts may not be that far fetched.
Oh boy.
I think that Daniel Andrews has an ego. I know
I
best.
think you
I know
don't
what
have
is
a
best
I
for
think
me.
you
Don't
have a
argue
fucking
with
ego.
me.
I think you're a person
Because
whose
if you do,
identity
well,
revolves
I've had
around the
Victoria
fact that
Police
you
over
used to be a
here come
cop.
after
Yeah.
Shame. And now
It
you're
seemed like
fucking,
in
and
order
now
to
you're a
save face,
cooker,
he
ex-cop.
needed to
You know, like
utilise the
that is
police
not.
force to
That doesn't
intimidate us because there was no other
confer
way to stop
any
us.
esteem or
As the police
responsibility
violence
to you.
escalated,
Yeah, they just put some really shitty color
just
grading
became
over that the hospitality
clearer that it was
worker
going to
plate.
keep escalating.
Like
We saw that. We saw that anyone that
so many
dissented,
just
that
like
had an opinion
first year student
that was not in
problems that
line
he's just like,
with
hey
Daniel
man,
Andrews,
you had like one other
Victoria
person look
Police
over
was
this,
sent after
they'd be
them.
like, hey, you can
You
probably
had
cut
Zoe
this out
Vidya.
and you can edit
You
this
had,
and just
I
like
think,
put
a
in an L cut
76-year-old
here
man
and
from Moorbark.
like just
He
change
was
some of the
arrested and
elementary
charged
fields
with
shit.
incitement.
God
That
damn.
charge
You
of
should have paid more money to Totes Field than
160.
Harrison.
You know what?
If
It
you
should've-
had paid
you know,
more money to him,
you're
he
right.
could have
in
paid
Western
for audio.
You're right.
country, as
You're
far as I'm
100% right.
concerned. Those charges are reserved for the most serious of incitement to cause physical harm to another human being. And these are people that were trying to coordinate peaceful protests to let the government know.
Oh, they're not
we
that
don't
peaceful,
like
but
these
that's fine.
draconian measures.
Lot
That
of
these draconian
Nazis
measures
usually
are not
don't
warranted.
show up at peaceful
we believe
protests.
That the way Victoria Police is being used is disproportionate. Listen to us. And they weren't.
You're a part of the
They were
cops.
arrested instead.
Tell your mates, you fucking idiot.
Somebody that can't empathise with the most vulnerable in our community.
Avi, I can't hear you over
that
Hans Zimmer
describes a
getting
narcissist.
angry at Blade Runner
If the health
2049.
advice says that we need to have a curfew, that we need to be locked down, that funerals need
It
to be
was
stopped,
so
that protests
cool,
outdoors
Avi,
need
when
to
he
be
talking
stopped.
about
Why can't we see it?
empathising with the most vulnerable.
He's the most empathetic person.
Remember when he laughed
We
once
haven't
about
seen
a
it. And
Palestinian
he's
having
he's
their
fought in
face
court
shot?
to
It was
avoid
a
releasing
child
it,
or
and
something
he's been
like that.
successful.
You know?
And to this day, we
Remember
have
when
not
he
seen the
threw
health
it?
advice.
It's not a chopping
And we
board.
may
He threw
never
a
see it.
knife at his ex-wife because he
Daniel
was mad at
Andrews
her.
didn't care about
But he
the toll his
negotiated it
lockdowns
down
were
to a
taking,
chopping
or
board in
that
court
other
in
states and
exchange
other
for a lesser
countries were
plea.
managing COVID without such extreme measures. According to him, he was doing a great job.
730's also obtained a confidential Victorian government report.
Oh, the
which shows
shadow
a spike in the number
pandemic,
of young people
mental
seeking
health.
emergency medical help for mental health
They talk
conditions
about how much they don't like
during
the
and
ABC.
following
You've used a
lockdowns.
lot of
And
ABC
that's at about
footage,
3,100 calls.
Well, they're just operating on
If
a
I take you
template
back
with that
just 2
ABC
years
thing, you
before
know what I mean? They're just operating on the playbook
we
of
were
the
doing
American alt-right. They go,
2,400 calls.
oh,
Yeah.
you know,
These
in
weeks of
America,
lockdown
you
have
go,
just
what do?
ended up
You
in
go on a
months of
taxi
lockdown. And
so
now I'm seeing
do a similar thing.
and other
here.
GPs,
That's
we're
pretty
seeing
much,
these
that's
kids
as
who are
smart
just,
as it gets, isn't
again,
it?
yeah, they have no hope.
It's like
they're
if you
depressed,
don't trust the mainstream media,
they're,
how about
some are
you tell us
self-harming and
what
suicidal
sources
even,
should we and
I've
should we not trust?
buried
Because you
4
don't.
friends in 2 years from suicide.
Oh, swimming teacher.
One of them's got 10
Swimming
5-year-old
teacher,
girls who started
32
school this year.
years.
Dad never got to see them
Come
go
on,
to school.
his friends are dead probably.
I just wish that Daniel and his cronies could see what he's doing, what these lockdowns have done.
Even people taking, and young adults taking their own lives, as I know from my children's friends who did take their lives.
I've had 3-4 phone calls from respites or hospitals or psych wards. Aaron, your mum's in here again because she's lonely and she can't do it.
The lockdowns has affected migrant communities more, and the teenagers, they haven't. These are the most affected population, and this is the future. The future of this state, the future of this country, lies with our children that we have overhandedly.
Look, I will say this, just for a simple fact, why we're not going to say anything at this point, where it's like, look, we're not going to make fun of anybody who has genuine mental health issues or anybody who may have lost somebody either through suicide or just general, let's just say, just maybe they did or did not get COVID, but basically they have passed during this time. But what I will
they do say it was very hard on people, the mental health effects of the pandemic. There were also statistics showing in Victoria that the suicide rate from 2019 to 2020, I think it was, actually dropped slightly. But there obviously was also people who experienced depression and a whole range of other things.
Exactly.
And it's very hard for a lot of people. But I just say this again and again. These people
this is
are not mental health
manipulative.
experts.
Yeah.
They're not mental health advocates.
No.
They're pandemic denialists.
Yeah.
That's why they're there.
Ego advocates. That's literally their entire job. I was going to say, we're taking what they're saying seriously, but we're also taking what they've also said previously a lot more seriously. Whereas like they've shown themselves to be who they truly are by what they've done and what they've said.
And Jerry here is quite happy to hang out with some of the same nationalists at rallies who were at that St Kilda rally a couple of years ago. You remember the one where they were saying, the Africans should get out? You remember that one? He's quite happy to hang out with some of them. I've literally seen him doing it. I think he knows about it. He just doesn't ignore it because he's just hoping he'll get in his little nice videos one day, get a little bit of spotlight, So I don't really take much of what he says caring about migrant communities very seriously. I think they're crocodile tears, and I think they just happen to befit these people's posturing throughout the pandemic. They get to pretend to care about migrant communities. I mean, Jerry here's whole shtick is that he departed from the interests of his migrant community so that he could pretend to be a little amateur Ben Shapiro type, which he's not very good at doing. But anyway, good luck to him.
Jesus.
Tortured using the lockdown.
Some people, particularly the younger people, are not worldly enough to understand that things change and that we aren't always the arbiters of our own existence. And so they take it personally.
Deep. That's fucking deep, bro.
Yeah, damn, dude.
As a
I've never
failing of their
heard
own
anybody
self.
use arbiters of their own existence in that way.
That's
before.
why I personally know 4 people who
It's
were not
nice.
with us.
I'm the first to admit that I'm no angel in the past. I've made plenty of mistakes that I wish I hadn't made, but that's life. As a swim teacher, being unable to work, full stop. There's nothing. I can't sit at home on a laptop and make money. I've got 4 kids.
Yeah. Oh, this is the sad, lonely guy being depressing.
Yeah,
Frank.
this is
I don't know what I'm watching right now.
Ah, damn, dude.
My partner and I decided we were moving back to Melbourne.
Oh, I don't want to. I'm sorry, but sorry to be harsh about this. I don't want to hear about your life. I'm going to skip.
I was literally going to be like, you know what?
I don't. I'm trying to do a
man.
cringe fest here, and this
Tom,
guy's
thank
making
you
me
for
feel
just
sad.
no, thank you for doing that in a
Fuck
less
off.
subtle way, because I was like, this sucks. Can we just like skip ahead
It's
2 minutes? Like, I'm just like, now fuck this dude.
We've got in the COVID fight and out of bounds for kids and
Jesus
parents.
Christ!
Stop doing this.
Oh,
This is
so
really
manipulative.
bad. I'm skipping it.
No,
No!
no, no.
Why did I skip this?
1 minute he was in
I hate
the
it.
newspaper,
No, we need
so I can't
context.
tell you what we're
Look
doing
at
next
her.
week.
Look at her. Remember when she
He could
pretended to
predict
cry
that
before?
we
She's never
weren't
cried
going
in
to
her life.
be
She
Thank
doesn't
you
have
so much,
tear
Heroin.
ducts. She doesn't have tear ducts.
Anzac Day is when we remember the sacrifices of our servicemen and women who died for
Oh,
our freedoms.
shut up, cunt. Anzac Day is where
Andrews,
you wee on the
cancel it.
Shrine of Remembrance.
Kinda
You know,
simple.
yeah,
Shut
thanks
up.
to this movement,
I
I'm someone
actually
who's
decided
burned
to go
20 Australian
for
flags
the
hanging from a
diggers.
fucking clothesline before. I haven't had nationalists and the like be big fans of me. Thanks to this movement is so unpopular, I had RSL members reaching out to me, asking for me to help them dox people at these rallies
Holy
because
shit.
they were all pissing on the Shrine of Remembrance.
Oh.
You have to be really unpopular when you have RSL people reaching out to me to find out who you are. You're actually bringing together really disparate elements of the community against you. One of the most unifying things about the pandemic has been the anti-lockdown movement, because they've brought people in league with each other
Yeah.
from such different walks of life. You know, I've spoken to nutritionists and done work with them because of Pete Evans. Like, it's brought us all together in an incredible way. It's
These
been,
fucking idiots
they
are
always
making
talk
look
about
all of us
unity.
bad.
Why can't we just come together? We have come together to all say that these cunts are shit.
Diggers that went there was cyclone fencing put around the shrine, and we
Yeah,
had
'cause you
diggers
pissed on
sitting
it.
there
You
trying to
literally.
So
Look,
that
I
was,
pissed on a couple of things in my time.
Another
BMW,
point that you could
walls,
see that the restrictions were ludicrous.
Turkish perfume
On the
stores,
same
but I've never
day,
pissed on an Anzac
there were
shrine. I
80,000
don't care
plus
that much
people
about
at the
this country.
football, but there was cyclone fencing around the shrine. But they still insisted that it was based
Cyclone
on
fencing
science
is
and
my favorite
for our
hardcore punk
health.
band.
Yeah, hang on. They were trying to
The
keep you all
way
out of the shrine because they were
narratives tend
obsessed
to
with
work
it. The problem with
is
it,
they
they were
pick a
upset.
hill
They wanted
and
to
they
go
will
back
die
there.
on
They
it.
wanted
Yeah,
to go
for the
back
most
and
part.
do it.
Man.
I
Now,
actually
you know,
think
you
the
get
fact he's just
examples of that
pointed
in
out that they
history. I
had
did not
huge
have
crowds
sex
at
with that woman.
the football.
You know,
It's
all these
terrible.
things where once they're
That's
once they're in their
capitalism.
story,
That's
it. Now,
big
for
business
Australia,
going on.
that turned
Here's
into
lots of money.
Yeah.
Please
COVID
keep
zero.
these
Put it all in one
certain
area.
Now,
high-paid
when you
events
hit COVID
open.
zero, which is
That's
obviously
bad.
ridiculously
That was
unsustainable,
hypocrisy.
you have
You know
to
what
come
they
up
should
with
have
an
done is
exit
they should
ticket.
have not had
You
the
can't keep
football,
doing it
not had
indefinitely.
big crowds
For us, that
allowed
was the
there at
vaccine.
all,
We
and they
lost
should have had cyclone
all
fencing around the
level
Shrine
of
of Remembrance so these
reasonableness,
cunts can't go in and wee there again.
proportionality,
That's the
discourse,
solution.
anything like that, and we went zero. And now we're going from zero to mandates.
She looks like
Dan was
someone
trapped in his
who, if
COVID
you were
zero
in like a
narrative, and
business
he'd
or an
finally
economics
realised
class,
it was not
would talk
politically
about 10
sustainable.
minutes about
High
the
vaccination
best
rates
idea
were
ever, and
essential
then you
so
would
that you
just
could
go,
change the narrative
that
without
already
political
exists.
harm.
That's called
to achieve
Uniqlo.
that,
And then
he
she
had
would
to crush any
never talk to you ever
dissent.
again.
From day one, their strategy
he's
has
back.
been to make people too afraid to protest.
Oh my god, how many times does he do the
Boom! It's just like
thing?
it's. I wish I was on my Mac because I make shitty music in GarageBand. I'm like, I can recreate that sound. It's not that
you know,
difficult.
I'm skipping.
No, don't
skipping.
hesitate. Just go for it. Oh, hang on.
I'm
this might be
skipping
good.
bits. If you in the comments have any reason,
Yeah,
that
if there's parts where
skip
you've
bits,
seen
tell
like
me
that
why,
are like
because I have.
Yeah.
I feel that I have bored you, and it's not even my fault. It's Topher Field's fault. He can't even do cringe right. It's his fault. He's wasted Harrison's time, my time, and all
everyone's
your time.
Yeah.
And I need to find the juicy bits.
Yeah.
If you have any timestamps for where I can
100%.
get juicy
Drop the
bits,
timestamps.
now's the
We'll watch
time
'em.
because I'm going to be ruthless from now
Yeah,
on.
Tom and I, let's put a 10-minute time limit on it. If we can't find anything great.
Just call me Proddy just said don't skip any good cookers. This is your time
There's no
to tell
such
us
thing as
where
a good
they are.
cooker. Yeah.
There are no juicy bits. I'm inclined to believe you. We're in.
How perfect. How Machiavellian.
I want to say, hang on, I really want to get the Sarlacc moment.
Oh.
To have police and people fighting in the streets.
We're trying
both
to get a whole
there because they're
graveyard worth of
afraid they
teeth.
won't be able to feed their families.
Oh yeah, Silent Hamish. I'm putting in a calendar
Credit where it's
invite.
due. That is genius. And Daniel Andrews used Victoria Police in more ways than one.
He fucked all of them.
The only way that they could neutralize
bail conditions that
is
said
fuck you.
I would love to be in a documentary
opposition
where it's just my
to the
name
Cho
and
directions.
unemployed. That would be the sickest
And then the
thing
other
ever.
one was Monica must delete all past posts that incite opposition. My whole
Thank
website
fuck.
incites opposition. I was the vice president,
Including
of
the
a
part that
political
says,
party at
I
the time.
once
My
decided
job was
that
to oppose
drinking
the
6
government.
shandies is the best way to be a
original
girl
bail
boss.
conditions, they even wanted to close.
Thank you.
Yeah, walking around Richmond,
Yeah.
just being cool. They weren't doing anything. It was such
Word
a
on the
shit
street
show
was
this
that there were
day.
going to be over
Such a shit show.
police, riot squad, rubber bullets, pepperball guns, the works.
What is he blurring in? I want to know what who he's still. Oh
Tried
god.
to hand herself in.
Oh yeah, this bit where the cops push people over. Yeah, well, you know what? They actually, you know what? I bet you half of these cunts voted for all the law and order policies during previous administrations of Dan Andrews or Liberal that gave them all of those toys that they used on them.
and then left
So maybe
there.
they shouldn't have done that.
That's
what
not
I think.
okay.
'Cause I've
delete,
been at this for years, and I fucking watched Vic Pol get more toys gradually over years, and people voted for it. They go, "Oh no, Apex," and then they get more fucking guns. Oh no, Law and Order.
Oh, they'll never be
And
used
they
that on
more
me.
guns.
I'm
and
one
they
of the good
voted all that
ones.
in over years. No one gave a fuck. That's what heroin said. No one said a thing. They didn't give a shit.
God
They didn't
damn.
give a shit. Oh, don't go back to this guy.
Hey,
Make me
woman.
feel sorry for him.
And still go to work next day?
I don't want
Was
him.
desperate to shut us all down.
What's this?
Hi, Arby. My name's Alex. I'm from Dandenong Police Station.
Oh, Arby, don't dox yourself.
Hey guys.
Oh, he can reach the door. How sweet.
This is a horrifying dystopian vision.
Those who have and those who
Oh,
haven't.
damn.
have
Damn, she's
different
back, dude.
Liberties allowed to them, as if it's the government's role to give us our liberty.
It's drummed in this.
Oh, they're not even exciting cooked guests. They're the most boring ones. I'd be... Even though we're pretending to be CFMEU members, yeah, that's it. We see, we had actually, I know that there were people doing recon, like having conversations with people in the crowd who were like tied up to the left, basically trying to figure out how many of them were members. And yeah, there was a few, but there weren't, the majority, I think, were not. You know what a lot of them were? A lot of them were like subbies, subcontractors.
Yeah.
Who basically got a chip on their shoulder about
And who weren't a
unions,
part
but
of the union.
They're not
Yeah.
union members, you know? Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who, professional stop sign holders, were there on the day.
On the news that night, and the statements by the government saying
This man looks like a horrible.
were they angry
Like
about
if
the
you
mandate.
like the Flied, Kevin Rudd, and Scott Morrison, that's what that man would look
They
like.
need in order to ensure that you are held.
If Daniel Andrews
Oh my
is
god,
looking
this
for a terrorist,
fucking drama music the whole way. He's such a bad documentary
Oh,
maker.
Jesus.
And I know he uses
Oh.
Premiere Pro. I know he uses Premiere
Oh,
Pro.
you can see it
'cause
in
I
the
just saw
background.
Premiere Pro
Yeah, it's in the background. That woman was so
you could.
tan. She
it was
probably,
Premiere Pro on 2 monitors.
Yeah, which you can do, but like doesn't make any sense. Yeah, show the woman that oh boy.
My mummy is a parasite.
Oh yeah, a lot of My Body, My Choice. That
Yeah,
is my
fucking-
favorite one. Oh, 6 Scooters.
Weighing on the shrine.
Yep. What the fuck is this song?
Oh, I just think it's an excellent experiment in how you can use hyper-partisan media and fringe political fucking vultures to just create like a microcosmic economy that bamboozles people, so that all they end up watching is like doomsday prophets and bullshit artists, and they get whipped up into this false sense of, you know, like doomsday prepper type.
Yeah,
they're not worried about any of the actual ends of the world coming up. They're not worried about global warming. In fact, a lot of them think it's not real. They're worried about how communism's about to come, as though they even understand what that means. They've got no idea. But they have these doomsdays in their head, and that's why they're all coming out. That's why they'll travel on a moment's notice thousands of kilometres to Canberra.
Yeah.
No one does that. Political movements in Australia don't do that. But these people are that scared. You know, their level of fear is just, it's incredible. You know, it's incredible. It must be terrifying to be one of these people in this movement.
Yeah,
constantly terrified. And the only thing cheering them up is being in videos with each other, and, you know, getting a live stream and telling each other, "Oh, thanks for standing up." You know, like just
90-minute
the theatre of their movement. Yeah, exactly. Well, you know, this documentary was felt to them like their Logies moment.
Yeah.
You know, like I could see they all got together. Oh, there's that Milan.
Yeah. This is the shitty version of the Avengers, where it's like we just get them all together into one movie, and then they can act like, you know, they're all teammates.
And I often talk about how they're always so like they're very
actually, hang on, wait. Sorry.
And they're very corny.
Sorry, Silent Hamish has got a really great idea. Just give me 1 second. So continue what you were saying about the fact that, like, again, they don't really understand sort of the cringe factor about
Kevin MacLeod, monkey spinning monkeys.
I've got one of my favorite songs of all time. I feel like this is going to help a whole bunch if we just play this song over the top of this, the Benny Hill theme.
Yeah, do it.
And we're back. There we go.
No, I actually can't hear it. I'm still only hearing...
Oh, no!
Maybe it's just me. Oh, no. I think everyone who's watching it via Twitch actually would. Sorry, don't listen to me.
That's not... I've made myself sad. Sorry about that, everybody. I felt like it was just a good idea. It did not turn out. I've just made myself more upset. But seriously, this song is terrible. It's like, it's great that you learned what reverb does on Pro Tools.
Oh, I wish they'd break his fucking...
It was...
Fuck you.
In Minecraft. In Minecraft.
This new pandemic bill will give an authoritarian premier who...
Oh, I hate it. They're back to the drama music. We're an hour and 23 minutes in.
It's crazy. There's only a couple minutes left for this thing.
Which I think is totally unacceptable. And, you know, they've seen...
I'm not going to put the Benny Hill music over the swimming instructor, Proddy.
They need these powers to do it.
It's a bit of a mare for me.
And Sarah Kendall used to be real funny.
It reminds me of something that used to happen back home, in that people were able to be arrested for no reason, held with no charge.
And just because they were a part of the IRA, the IRA is, I've got no problem with them, frankly.
And that sort of behaviour, again,
I think,
is a total breach of human rights.
I don't know if she mentioned it at the start of the doco.
And it's not just conspiracy theorists who are raising the alarm. Victorian Bar Association President Christopher Blandon QC said that the Stasi would be happy with these powers, and 60 QCs called the powers unlimited and practically unreviewable. So to those who insist that there's nothing wrong with these laws, I have a question. What do you know about the law that the Victorian Bar Association and 60 QCs do not?
Topher, what do you know about editing?
That's a very time specific. That was a very... This person didn't think about who the audience is beyond his mates seeing it right now, the people that pay the money for it. Because that doesn't even make sense anymore, because that pandemic bill's passed. You know what I mean? In fact, it's already outdated. So this documentary is already hit its use by date, you know?
Might arrest me
because they don't need a reason to arrest
If you're in
me
hiding, how come you didn't get the did you not ask to get the voice change
to shut down political dissenters? I can only imagine how he would use that in a new bill that actually.
This is so good. There's just so much of these people sitting in the rooms. Like, oh my god,
this man has never sat normally in his life, and so he's like, yeah, this is how human beings sit. I'm a former cop. This is how everybody has ever sat in front of me.
That we're even thinking along those lines.
One man
why don't you have another cry about it?
He's got that sad dad voice where it's just like,
and that's the reality of the situation.
Oh, please.
So we braced ourselves for a final showdown.
Please
more
show
protests, more police violence.
Yeah.
And who knows what was going to happen.
Yeah, dude.
But something quite unexpected happened.
We
that completely
stole a nuke.
changed everything.
We killed Dan Andrews. You guys didn't hear we killed him.
To facilitate protest, to stop the violence. Now,
this is the false sense of ending here.
Yeah, I was like, how do you end a documentary?
Because actually it hasn't ended. I mean, what are they all doing now? They're in Canberra, like, you know, they're just cooking elsewhere.
Perception that VPOL is becoming increasingly a political arm of our government.
What the fuck?
I think that's probably right, because I strongly suspect.
Oh, he's trying to say because they like whinged a lot that the coppers became less violent. I'm sorry, mate.
Oh, no, the former cop.
They didn't become less violent.
Because of their inability to consult the people that knew how to deal with a pandemic.
Then Sergeant Crystal Mitchell was the first serving member to quit publicly.
The consequences of me being here today
none. There are no consequences whatsoever. In fact, if there were any consequences, the biggest would be that no one knows who the fuck you are, and also your parents should have not named Crystal and spelled it that way.
Organisation that claims to serve the community, and I'm seeing anything but.
I'm not interested in your fucking job, you loser. I'm not interested. You were a cop. That already makes you morally bankrupt.
That's the only time I've ever been disappointed to see a cop retire.
It was violence. And I guess that's what got
they're all future independent candidates that will get 1% of the vote.
Yeah, thank you, Heroin. So yes, they're all LDB candidates. This is, you know, and that's important because at the very beginning of the pandemic, that's how I first got to know Totes. He was an LDP candidate. That's what he is. He's a libertarian type, and he was around the LDP party, and this is what it is. It's just the ultimate conclusion of this movement is which grifting,
they don't want to be a part of right now.
Satellite, far-right party with absolutely no morals and only self-interest can bamboozle these idiots into, you know, voting for the best. That's it. You know, you've got UAP, you've got LDP, you've got One Nation, you've got the Great Australia Party, you've got Australia One, and they're all in competition with each other to see who can lie to and trick these fucking idiots the most. And that's what they are. They're all fucking idiots, you know. I think they were watching The Project the other night. You know, when they were talking about how they've got the whole thing terribly wrong, and they were talking about how, we've just got to understand them. You know, when they're up there race shifting and like taking away from Indigenous people's you know, voice up there in Canberra, and they're going, we just need to understand them. Yeah, sometimes when there's lockdowns and they swell to 40,000 people, and there's a lot of, you know, like in Sydney as they did last year, when they were like, you know, there were a lot of pissed off broke people because the government benefits had stopped. There were moments the anti-lockdown movement swelled to accommodate real fucking concerns of some really broke people. But right now, no, not at all. And they're all fucking idiots, and they need to be called that, you know? And then we have this paranoia in the centre left about every time you do that you get told, oh no, you're creating. You know, we have this idea that every time you call these fucking idiots, that you're being like Hillary Clinton calling Trump people deplorable
shit, yeah.
You know? Oh no, you're just making them worse.
They're making them stronger.
No, you know what? Sometimes me, working class Australian, you know, will tell you, other working class Australian, that you're being a fucking idiot. And sometimes you deserve it. That's all I've got to say about that.
feel like you've come up with a better ending than Topher could have ever imagined.
Yeah, well, you know, I had to get my little rant out because, like, he's playing this fucking song again.
This song sucks so bad.
All right.
Thank you.
Finally.
It doesn't matter where you move.
Oh my God.
To the world's most locked down, and gave himself powers that have no place in a democratic.
I know you don't like the endings. I get that. Oh no, hang on.
Thank you.
Let's go. Let's get the ending bit. Let's do this.
To the world's most locked down.
Here we go.
And gave himself powers that have no place in a democratic country.
Well, most democratic countries have.
He made Melbourne a battleground. And he took from us the city that we love.
That's the title of the movie.
Now, it's our turn to take it back.
And then they did.
Here we go. So this is the bit. This is the cum shot. This is where you go. Oh, you got to vote my favourite.
Polls do not indicate that whatsoever.
I actually think he'll get back in.
Yeah, I mean, oh, why would you do this for the end of your movie? A lot of Imagine Dragons fans in the Topher. Thank you. Everybody, get your cringes out now.
Yes, of course he's running. Of course David Limerick's running.
The whole
point. Oh, vote for these parasites.
Monica Smith engaged to be married to herself.
Where's she gone to? Does anyone know where she's gone to?
Oh, so they're fine now. Okay.
Open your mouth, you fucking sandworm. Open your mouth and show us your fucking Sarlacc mouth. Whoa, lockdowns, pandemic.
Oh yeah, they're
freedom,
yeah. Like the brown shirt.
Freedom, yeah.
Oh, Anonymous was the producer. Anonymous was the director of photography. No, they just did not want their fucking names associated with this dude.
Yeah, they didn't want that.
Hell yeah. EJ, sick carpenter dude, yeah.
Oh,
here we go.
Should I go to Canberra? Do you think I should go there for a couple of days?
No, come on, Tom, be safe. Be safe.
Do you actually think I should? No, but I can just wear like a Anzac shirt. You know what I mean? Like, and some wraparound sandals. It'll be fine. Should I go there?
Anonymous organizer.
I don't really do that thing. I don't really do that thing where I like live react to shit or whatever, like going out there. But maybe I should. I don't know. I'll think about it. Let me know. Send me a message on Instagram. You can't message me on Twitter
Can't do it
anymore.
on Twitter. We can run a poll right now. We can just, hang on, just give me a second. Should Tom go to Canberra? Should Tom go to Canberra? Yes. No. Vote 1, UAP. There we go.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, let's start a poll. There you go. Everybody, just if you want to check now, you can vote. Apparently, these are the people that helped funded it, so fuck all of these people. I'm voting no out of respect. Was it the pickle farmer? Cool, dude.
I got 4, 3, yes.
Yeah,
I feel like it sounds loaded when I ask that question. Like, as in, I want you to say yes. I really don't. Like, I'll probably be more happy.
I love
with
Rob Cat.
I was just thinking about what I just wanted to see what other people thought. You know
I mean, look, I'm not 100% against it, but I'm like, I do worry.
Yeah, Sandy,
about
I know Sandy there said like live
Who the
stream.
fuck voted for UAP? Fuck you. That's not
You don't need another live stream. You really don't need another live stream, you know. Sandy, the problem is if we've got too many live streams, you know what I mean? Like, it's just everyone there live streams all day. Like, you actually don't need to, you know, people used to try and do like little recon stuff on like far right rallies or what have you. You don't need to anymore. They just do it to themselves. Every single angle is like fucking live streamed at once, you know.
It's been really funny to watch. I highly suggest people follow. I want to say Reptilian Overlord. The types. I don't know how they identify.
Reptilian Overlord is one of the people that you would definitely follow to get consistent updates on cookery. You know, who else have we got? Got SOS.
Yeah, What's Doing Media does some good stuff.
What's Doing Media is great.
Yeah. It was 160K. One toxic merc. It was $160,000 to make this. It looks like
Notorious just don't go for your own safety. Do you reckon?
Emperor Daniel Andrews. Emperor is spelt wrong. That's great. Political posting mama.
PR guy 17 is one of the comments.
Oh, S8 Ken, thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate that. Yeah, Disco Dead Pigeon on Twitch. Highly suggest if you're already a regular Twitch
Pure
user.
Blood. Melbourne documentary.
Free Melbourne. Hopeful. Oh, that's nice. Support from Arizona. Jesus Christ. Aussie Kabbalist.
Really?
Where's
that?
That's on the top right. 6-1.
Aussie Kabbalah.
Yeah. Madge, thank you so much for the follow. There's so many wonderful people who follow. I'm so sorry if I haven't said your name. I'm gonna say them all at the end, as well as thank Moonbird yet again for the wonderful subs. Yeah, I saw.
Well, I have to say, no, they're very subjective. They're hyper subjective.
Yeah, they're not real.
Sarlacc
In the
mouth
interest of telling a big story in short amounts of time, some events have been combined and some news articles have been outside of their. Oh, okay. It is in the good faith opinion of the director Topher Field that Battleground Melbourne truly represents the event. Leave it on more. Oh God! All right. I'm sorry. I don't speed read as much as I. That's fucked. Oh, hang on.
Look at this big silksman.
He just shits himself. Is the big finale. Oh, I gave him a hug. Man, wear pants.
I know
Come
you
on,
genuinely
dude.
feel sorry for yourself, but that doesn't mean you ought to be taken seriously, cunt.
Yeah, and then he just gets on his knees. And anyway, the way that we've seen this play out, look, there are some genuinely touching and sad moments, but the rest of it is fucking awful in so many different ways. Let's get this off the screen real quick. I first of all, Tom, thank you so much. Tom actually had a hard out at 10:30, and I appreciate you spending the little extra time to stay with us. Out of 10, what would you give? What would you give the wonderful documentary that we just reviewed?
Well, like on IMDb, like the majority of reviews on IMDb for Battleground Melbourne, I would give it a firm 1 out of 10. and you know what I mean? And
let's check that. Let's just check that real quick. Hang on. So, if anybody's checked it on IMDb, it does have a 2.8 out of 10 right now, which sucks. But if you actually look, and I will bring this up here, the overwhelming majority is either 10s or 1s, which is usually the sign of a shitty film. It's 73%, 1%.
Before I go, and I think just as a little healing measure, just because we've genuinely wasted each other's time.
Yeah, I'm real sorry about that, Tom. Yeah.
And I don't, no, I don't just say you and me. I mean everyone in the comments.
Yeah.
Well. Yeah, everyone who's logged on to here has wasted each other's time.
Yes.
And they've wasted your time. You know what I mean? Because remember, they encourage you. You know, your existing subs encourage you, but they've encouraged you to do this. And I'm not specifically blaming them. I'm just saying it's their fault too, and it's my fault too. You know, I knew I had a sense. You know, what we were in for here. It was cringe, but it was also very, very bad time. We did have a very bad time.
It was a very upsetting time.
It's our fault. But I'm going to read this one review here. And I like it. It's the first 1 out of 10.
Oh,
it's entitled 100 Minutes of Pure Dross. Possibly the worst documentary I've ever had the misfortune of seeing. The whole thing is just a heavy-handed misrepresentation of the facts and only highlights the experiences of an imbecilic few who are either too self-absorbed to care about the public as a whole or use the whole experience to grift some money out of simple-minded folk who were too easily persuaded to part with some hard-earned cash in order to line their own pockets. What the documentary doesn't tell you is that the processes put in place to get to COVID-0 did eventually work, and the whole city and state reached COVID-0 for months on end towards the end of 2020. Nor does it tell you that despite everything, Melbourne is still listed in the top 10 of the world's most livable cities and is even above Sydney, which is seen by some in Australia as the gold standard in regards to the COVID response. But I guess these pesky facts would get in the way of the clearly biased narrative the director was trying to portray. I only gave it 1 star as IMDb wouldn't allow me to give it its rightful rating of 0 stars.
Jesus Christ. Hey, look, that was a beautiful review. I think that that is definitely. I feel like that's also someone who's definitely suffered along, like who's definitely watched it.
Definitely go on, everyone in the comments, definitely go onto the IMDb reviews.
Yeah, we're going to drop
what
it
I
in the
noticed
chat right
earlier
now.
today when I read them was that quite a few, there's a couple of the 1 out of 10 reviews that are actually appear to be from Freedom Movement people. Which is pretty fun. Like, just they had their own bugbears around it. So yeah.
It's just like there's so much about it, and I'll talk about it. I'll let you go and obviously enjoy the rest of your evening and take care of your cat and yourself. And obviously I was gonna ask, is there anything that you wanted to plug? We were gonna drop your, if you're not already subscribed to Tom on YouTube, you're missing out. You're missing out on some of the best and only like some of the, there's very little Australian political content out there on YouTube. I've tried and failed to make it, but Tom succeeds time and time again. And if you're missing out, you truly are missing out on something absolutely fantastic. The Sovereign Citizen Part 1 and 2, which just came out over the last 2 weeks, is a must-watch. It's a little over 2 hours, but it literally set aside some time. Get yourself some drink, order something on Uber Eats, or get yourself, something nice for yourself, and really dig in.
Please come along and watch it. I put a lot of time and effort into that. Yeah. And what I really do is look at cookers on the fringe and try and do. I don't just try and look at them, like, 'cause there's quite a lot of accounts that just go, oh look, they did this today, they did this today. I'll try to give a bit of analysis because I've been doing that kind of looking at the fringe in Australia and for years now. You know what I mean? Through various iterations, been doing that since the days of Reclaim, really, in one form or another. So try to do a bit of analysis. And, I'll be around after these cunts have fucking given up and all gone back to watching the block. We'll be on to the next iteration. And, in the modern era, with the allure of getting famous on social media, there'll always, it seems, be some version of some new iteration of a cooked fringe movement that I don't like. Although, I can't wait for the day when the pandemic circumstances ease a little bit and I can start looking at fringe political movements that I do like, because they are out there. It was just a lot of us have been forced to be stuck at home. So, yeah, do follow me on Tom Tanuki on YouTube. I mean, I have a Patreon if you eventually decide you love me so much you'd like to give me a clam. You can't follow me on Twitter because free speech is dead and the Judeo-Christian West is dead as we know it because my Twitter account has been deleted.
It's really a heartbreaking time for us all, and I will
Battleground Twitter. Look for my upcoming doco. Battleground Twitter.
It's going to be fantastic. It's going to be fantastic. A lot of people give
Someone
it.
Said in the comments, "Truckee convoy to Twitter." That's a good point.
It's so many wonderful people who again have come here to support you. I would say 99% of the people who are watching this evening are definitely fans of yours, and it's nice to look. I don't always support a hug box, but sometimes we do need it a little bit, and it's also good when people can just have fun as well. I feel like we have talked facetiously about how terrible this documentary is, which we 100% agree with. But we also want to thank you.
It's nice to get back together into a little circle jerk echo chamber and say how shit people are. You know what I mean? So it's nice,
man. But yeah, Tom, I will let you go. I'll do my little outro, and then we'll send all of these wonderful people off to a wonderful local Melbourne comedian, DJ, and streamer, Scoot Punk, who is currently playing a bunch of word games for people to enjoy. Tom, thank you so much for being on Totes Vidya. And
thank you so much. If anyone wants a message, just message me on Instagram or Facebook or whatever and say g'day. You're always welcome. Thanks so much for your time, everyone. Thanks for coming along to watch, and thanks for having me on, Harrison. Thanks for having us on.
It's all again always a pleasure, and I can't wait to have you back for more. Just again more cringy bullshit. We'll never run out of cringe, but the more important thing is, Tom, I hope we never run out of you. I put Tom's Instagram there, so if you want to give that a follow, if you already haven't, as well as just send to Tom, hey, we'll love you, we'll love what you're doing. But yeah, Tom, thank you so much. I'll let you go. I'll finish up on this call.
Freedom.
He left the call. He left the fucking call. He's like, holy shit. Again, thank you all so much. First of all, I want to thank all of the wonderful people who have donated in the last month. I'm going to just put this up here, not to do anything, but again, I took some time off streaming over the last 2 weeks to help a friend shoot something for Midsummer. If you are in Melbourne and you want to support the LGBTQIA community, do go see Ballads and Ball Gowns. It's a wonderful show. I've been filming. I've been doing a lot of the media for them, just filming and shooting stuff. So please do go and see that. Go support Isis Avis Loren. That is the wonderful performer. Do support them. It's a wonderful show. Blonde Matthew had a hell of a night. And thank you so much for appreciating the footage.